Chapter 1041-Chaos. Countless eyes fell on Tsunade, which made Tsunade feel extremely uncomfortable. She is not the kind of person who is afraid of big scenes. One of the legendary Konoha Sannin, she has seen everything, but now, there are too many things in the eyes looking at her, which makes her very stressed. At this moment, the Konoha ninja's mind is complicated, because they were still provoked by Musashi at noon a few days ago. They want to besiege Tsunade, take Tsunade and threaten Hangwang, in order to achieve the purpose of revenge for Sarutobi Hiruzen. If it weren't for the cold light, the relationship between Konoha and Tsunade would never have been so harmonious. Now, Konoha's life and death seem to have been pinned on Tsunade. Only with Tsunade's money can not only solve the Konoha crisis, but even end the Ninja World War. If Tsunade really did this, how should those ninjas who have questioned, scolded and even hated Tsunade deal with themselves? Master Tsunade, take your money. Konoha has nurtured you for more than 20 years after all. Yes, Lord Tsunade, I believe you are not such a selfish person. Some very discordant voices appear in the crowd. There are always such people. Those who say good sounds are thick-skinned, and those who say bad sounds are shameless. Blackmailing Tsunade with righteousness, putting on the hat of selfishness if not taking money, and forcing Tsunade to take the money. Master Tsunade, since you are rich, why are you stingy? I'm sure Tsunade-sama won't stand idly by. More and more people spoke up, including some small clan chiefs. Their thoughts were simple and straightforward. If Tsunade had enough money at one time, they would not need to pay. Kaharu Yudatane's face became more complicated, and he looked sideways at Tsunade, but did not speak. She couldn't speak, she couldn't ask for money, even though she hoped that Tsunade would pay to save Konoha village, but since someone had already spoken, she didn't need to say anything else, she just had to wait for Tsunade to express her opinion. The wily Onoki looked at the chaos of thousands of Konoha ninjas across Wuyongyang, and the corners of his mouth raised a vague smile. Kaharu Yudatane is hypocritical and speechless, and every Konoha ninja is also selfish, either opening or silent. Tsunade doesn't owe them anything. 10 years ago, Tsunade left the village of Konoha with countless honors. Even if Konoha had kindness to her, she should have paid it back. It would have been repaid in the Second Ninja World War. Done. But now, they are persecuting Tsunade. This is human nature. It seems that your Lord Tsunade is not willing to pay. Onoki said sullenly, I can give you a suggestion, hold Tsunade and threaten Hangwang, and Hangwang will give you money. 10 years ago, Hangwang saved you. Tsunade gave his life, Tsunade was priceless to him. This is already a blatant provocation. The faces of Kaharu Yudatane, Homura Mitokado, Namikaze Minato, Jiraiya, Inuzuka and others all changed dramatically. Shut up, Onoki, Kaharu Yudatane yelled. Don't get caught, Onoki is provoking and dividing us. Namikaze Minato said loudly. On the tower in the distance, Luhan saw that the time was right, and quickly hand-sealed. Bang! The white smoke rose, and the shadow cat appeared on Luhan's shoulder. Tell Tsunade, I need 3 minutes, let her grasp it. Luhan quickly instructed, in the event of an accident, channel me directly. Meow. The shadow cat disappeared in response. Luhan followed and disappeared. Outside the village of Konoha, 30 kilometers north. Luhan appeared in a valley, sat cross-legged under a tree, took 2 deep breaths, and slowly closed his eyes. At this moment, countless natural energies began to flow into Luhan's body crazily. Spiritual energy, physical energy, all 3 in one. Luhan is entering sage mode. Konoha village, on the square in front of the Hokage building. On Konoha's side, thousands of Konoha ninjas have already quarreled. Although Konoha's bigwigs have seen through Onoki's provocation, they know how powerful it is. If Tsunade is really touched, Konoha will not be destroyed by Onoki and others. May be extinguished by the cold light. But those ordinary ninjas don't think so much. They only look at the eyes. Tsunade is a life-saving straw for them. If Tsunade doesn't give money, they can only force her to give it. Because there is an antecedent for Hongguang to kill Sarutobi Hiruzen, many people think that it is not wrong to do so. Kaharu Udatane has lost control of the situation. The shadow cat suddenly appeared on Tsunade's shoulder, leaned close to Tsunade's ear, and rubbed his little head with a coquettish expression on Tsunade's ear, but in fact it used the ability of time and space to send the voice into Tsunade's ear, and read Lu Han's words. Told Tsunade. After hearing this, Tsunade finally made up his mind and took a sharp step forward. Shut up for me. A sharp shout like a lion's roar resounded through the Konoha village in an instant, and the entire Konoha was silent at this moment. All looked at Tsunade. Tsunade's face was cold, and he took 2 steps forward, facing Onoki, and said coldly, "You want money, right? You want Konoha to admit defeat. Give you 2 billion taels." Obviously, I said it very clearly. Onoki spread his hands, and a terrifying aura still rose from his short body. 2 billion, not less than 1 or 2. If I give money, no, it should be said, if I give you 2 billion on behalf of Konoha, will you leave the village of Konoha right away? Also, will the Ninja World War be over? Right. Of course, I will never go back on what Onoki said. Listening to the conversation between the two, many people in Konoha were shocked. There was only one question left in their minds. Tsunade actually has a fortune of 2 billion. Listen to what Tsunade means, but you have to pay for it alone. You agree, what about them? Did they listen to you? Tsunade glanced at Yagura, Rasa and the others again. We have made a pact with Lord Onoki to advance and retreat together, said Yagura, who looked very young. Lord Onoki represents us, Rasa also said. In that case, Tsunade stared at them, as if thinking, and was silent for a while. The square was extremely silent, waiting for Tsunade's final statement. Tsunade estimated the time in his heart, felt that it was almost time, and shouted fiercely, "No. I will never give you money. If you fight, I will accompany Tsunade to the end." Chapter 1042-Han, Get Out of Here. Tsunade's words were powerful and domineering, and he didn't take the 3 shadows in his eyes at all. Tsunade showed his breath at the same time, and the violent chakra fluctuations rose to the sky if they were real. However, no one took the form of a death battle with Tsunade. Thousands of Konoha ninjas all looked frightened and looked at Tsunade with horrified expressions, even stunned. They never expected that Tsunade would change his face faster than turning a book. Ripped off again. No one knows what Tsunade is thinking. In doing so, Tsunade was completely pushing Konoha into the abyss. Even Jiraiya didn't immediately respond to Tsunade. If there were only him and Tsunade here, he could stand in front of Tsunade without fear and let Tsunade run for his life first. Here is the hidden village of Konoha. Thousands of ninjas and tens of thousands of Konohas are in a situation. Jiraiya does not lack the courage to fight the enemy to the death, but he is more willing to use money to solve today's problems and save Konoha from perishing. Onoki's breath, and the hundreds of ninjas behind him gathered together like a cloud. Although Tsunade has a strong aura, compared to them, it is many times worse. She seemed very lonely, and she was the only one who had the courage to face it at this moment. Ha 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 ha, what a joke, Tsunade, look at them, look at them. Onoki laughed arrogantly, this might be the happiest day of his life. Onoki has followed the 2nd generation Tsuchikage since the Sengoku era. He witnessed the establishment of the 5 great ninja villages and experienced the First Ninja World War and the Second Ninja World War. That time, he and Wu came to Konoha village, but was humiliated by Uchiha Madara, and the next 2 ninja world wars ended with the victory of Konoha Hidden Village. 5 ninja villages were established because Konoha was too powerful. Konoha won the first battle and won the Second World War. It can be said that Konoha is a winner in life, as far as the ninja world is concerned. Today, Konoha seems to have abandoned all the glory of the past, abandoned the courage, abandoned the dignity, has become timid, was coerced and oppressed, but did not dare to resist. It is not an exaggeration to say that she was scared. Onoki's whole body is full of joy, and there is even a feeling of revenge. What's wrong with you? Tsunade turned around suddenly and scolded coldly. What about your courage as a ninja? What about your dignity as a ninja? Yourselves. You don't even have the courage to fight. You don't have the determination to protect your homeland. You don't deserve to be ninjas. Tsunade scolded everyone. What Kaharu Udatane, what Namikaze Minato, what Jiraiya Orochimaru, all became the object of Tsunade's denunciation. Tsunade was excited and his body was shaking. Tsunade, can you see the current situation? Kaharu Udatane couldn't hold back any longer. With a complicated expression on his face, is victory or defeat more important to us Konoha than survival? Don't be impulsive. Kaharu Udatane is shameless. I have fully stated my position. Don't fight, give me money. For Kaharu Udatane, nothing is more important than the survival of Konoha, and if Konoha doesn't exist, what's the use of having a face? Tsunade ignored Kaharu Udatane, turned sharply back to look at Onoki, raised his hand and shouted, Konoha ninjas, if you still have the courage, please take up your own weapons. Konoha will never bow his head, never. Quote. Whoa, 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 whoa. The sounds of pulling out weapons were one after another, and the ninjas who responded to Tsunade's stimulation were not one or two, but hundreds of thousands. At least 1/3 of the Konoha ninjas present responded immediately to Tsunade. Konoha never bows his head. Konoha never bows his head. The echoes became more and more louder and louder, and there was a feeling of tsunami and tsunami. More and more Konoha ninjas were emotionally infected and took up their weapons. Jiraiya sighed and walked behind Tsunade. Namikaze Minato raised Hiraishin Kunai and shouted together. At this point, only one battle. As for winning or losing, it doesn't matter anymore, because the situation is out of control, and Konoha can only move forward, even if there is an abyss ahead. A dark look flashed in Onoki's eyes, and he stared at Tsunade. He miscalculated. He didn't expect Tsunade to be like this, which completely disrupted his plan, coerced Konoha to pay money, provoked Konoha's relationship with Tsunade, and promoted Konoha's decline at the least cost, step by step. Tsunade broke it all. If war, fight. This is already the will of a large part of Konoha's ninjas. As for those who are hesitant and timid, they can't do it without fighting. In the face of the general trend, no one can stay out of it. Ha, ha 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 ha, ha ha ha. Onoki suddenly laughed wildly, and the sound overwhelmed the surrounding shouts. What are you laughing at? Tsunade asked, staring at Onoki. Ha ha ha, I'm laughing at you, Tsunade, you are a female class, do you think you can really turn things around? Delusional, Onoki said fiercely, since you Konoha don't accept the conditions, and since you don't fear death, then just go, dead. Death, Tsunade stared, it's not certain who will die. Arrogant. Humph. Tsunade snorted coldly, his feet shook violently, and he was the first to rush towards Onoki. It's good. Onoki's eyes lit up, and Tsunade suddenly rushed over by himself. If he could hold Tsunade hostage, it would be more rewarding than blackmailing Konoha. Tsunade is so valuable because he is Han Guang's wife. Han, get out of here for me. Do you want to watch the old lady fight with people? Get out. Tsunade shouted sharply while running. If the old lady dies, your son will have no mother. Get out. Quote. Actually Tsunade didn't want to say that, it was what Luhan had asked before. Onoki laughed, because he knew that Han Guang could not appear here at all, because according to the plan, Han Guang should be restrained by Uchiha Madara at this moment, which is why Onoki dared to be so arrogant in Konoha, and did not worry that Han Guang would intervene. Tsunade is 5 steps away from Onoki. A ghostly figure suddenly appeared in front of Tsunade. Onoki's face changed dramatically. Chapter 1043 _ Shocking Debut. In fact, Onoki only saw a phantom figure, because the ghostly figure appeared too quickly, and all the hairs on Onoki's whole body stood up. Others didn't have time to react at all, and didn't even see the sudden appearance. Luhan of Sage Mode appeared in front of Tsunade. Faster than Tsunade, the phantom passed from the position where Onoki disappeared, and rushed into the hundreds of mission ninjas. The invisible knife light did not know that it passed at this moment. How many people's bodies? The terrifying aura that gathered together was directly washed away. Be careful. Who is it? Some sensitive mission ninjas noticed the abnormality, and they just made a sound. Boom _ Futon, wind style, the art of flower rain cutting. A gust of wind suddenly erupted, and hundreds of thousands of tiny wind blades erupted among the group of ninjas in the mission. Leaf by leaf, huge wind blade lotus flowers were blooming. Dozens of ninjas closest to the futon, wind style, lotus were directly killed. Shattered into blood mist. Boom. Rumbling _ Jiraiya, who was still chasing Tsunade's footsteps, was speechless. Namikaze Minato, who turned into golden lightning, wanted to rush over, but hurriedly turned around to dodge. Many Konoha ninjas who were about to follow Tsunade's attack all stopped. The terrifying S-class futon, wind style, forbidden technique is reaping life. Rasa escaped, Yagura escaped, Chiyo escaped, Taki Ninja Village leader Cage level strong Shikawa, but was torn to pieces by the wind blade. All the mission ninjas who did not bear the brunt of the attack, all went crazy back as well. This ninja who suddenly appeared in the instant S-level forbidden technique has already revealed a breath of suffocating destruction. Cold light. He's out. It was forced by Tsunade to shoot. Gust of wind dissipated. The power of futon, wind style, flower and rain cutting technique had just declined. Luhan, who controlled the technique, pulled away and disappeared. After an instant, he appeared behind a person. Tsukazan Fuguki, the leader of the 7 people of Kurigakure Mist Shinobi Sword. The light of the knife is like a thunder, flashing a moment of brilliance. Swordsmanship flash. The tall and terrifying Tsukazan Fuguki was retreating, but his body suddenly stopped, and his expression froze at this moment. Luhan's figure disappeared again, leaving a few afterimages, flashing before Tsunade. He was very close to Tsunade, and the two were almost close to each other. Facing each other, Luhan stared at Tsunade with gloomy eyes. The sword of astonishment in his hand was still dripping blood. It all sounds complicated, but it actually happened in a very short period of time. The aftermath of futon, wind style, flower and rain cutting art finally dissipated. When the last gust of wind blew across the square, everything returned to calm, followed by a terrifying silence. At the location of the previous mission, there was still a blood mist floating, and there was a large patch of blood on the ground. It was the corpse of the killed ninja. Most of the mission ninja avoided, but there were nearly 100 people. After Luhan appeared, he was killed by the sword light slashing and the flower rain cutting technique. Boom. A dull sound similar to gunshots, but a person's heart exploded, and the heart exploded into minced meat, squirting forward more than 10 meters. It's Tsukazan Fuguki. He lowered his head in disbelief and looked at his broken heart. He didn't understand. How could it be possible? How could he be killed in seconds? He was full of strength, but he didn't have time to react. Bang bang. Tsukazan Fuguki fell, and soon lost his breath and turned into a corpse. He died. Killed by Luhan. The situation at that time, Wayuki swept across, and those who could respond in time would hide. It can be said that it was very chaotic at the time. In order to avoid the terrifying Wayuki, they had to focus all their attention on the blooming lotus. In this case, Luhan could even make a choice to kill someone strong enough. There are many choices, such as Kage Rasa, the 4th generation, but Luhan doesn't want to use this rare opportunity to kill that kind of trash, and if he chooses to kill Onoki, Luhan has no absolute certainty. One has the longest reign in the original work. Luhan is not afraid of him, but if he wants to kill him in seconds, it is extremely difficult. Luhan chose to kill Tsukazan Fuguki, which was a tactic he had formulated before. There was only one reason why he chose to kill him: to avenge Might Dai. There is a huge gap between Tsukazan Fuguki's strength and Luhan. Luhan is still in sage mode, killing him in seconds without any pressure. Onoki appeared on the edge of the square. He was stunned for a moment, then surprised. He looked at the hundreds of ninjas from the envoy who were directly scattered. He finally showed an expression that he was about to bite his mouth full of kiba. Greetings again. What about restraining the cold light? Everyone looked at Han Guang, and as soon as they appeared, they quickly killed hundreds of mission ninjas, including the two top powerhouses Shikawa and Tsukazan Fuguki. This shock, if you hadn't seen it with your own eyes, would have been impossible to understand. Cold light seems to be more pervert. Those pairs of eyes looking at him, either fear or awe. More people are still in a state of daze. What just happened? What happened? It was so fast that I didn't even see it. A lot of people died. Luhan didn't speak. It seemed that no one dared to speak. Luhan didn't move, and neither did they. Silence. Depressed. Chills. Luhan stared gloomily at Tsunade in front of him. His eyes were full of anger and displeasure. Tsunade and Luhan looked at each other, their eyes firm and a little stubborn. Cause me trouble, right? An old lady, what does Konoha have to do with you? Luhan finally spoke up, training his wife in public. You've also learned to threaten me. You're very capable, right? Konoha ninja one day, Konoha ninja all my life. I don't care what you think, I can't watch Konoha destroy. Tsunade choked. Luhan suddenly raised his hand, looking like he was going to smoke Tsunade. Tsunade tilted his head immediately, leaned in, and acted as if he could fight if he had the skills. Life is like a play. It's all about acting. That's how Luhan's script was written, and he wanted to push Tsunade's prestige in Konoha village to a new level. Hello, you're fine. Let's see how I'll take care of you when I go back. Luhan said, extremely annoyed, but slowly put down his hand and suddenly turned into an afterimage. Straight to Onoki. A terrifying sense of crisis enveloped Onoki. Chapter 1044 A full-scale battle. Seeing Luhan rushing towards him, Onoki disappeared decisively. Flashing appeared next to Chiyo, and completed the hand seal with extreme speed. Doden, Earth-style, flying rock spike. The village of Konoha was shaken violently as if it had been shaken, and the ground in front of Onoki exploded, and a huge amount of soil erupted. The soil that may have weighed hundreds of tons was lifted up like water and turned into thousands of pieces. The big earth cone bombarded Luhan. White secret skill, 10 people in Jinsong. Chiyo was also in hand seal at the same moment, and 10 figures appeared beside him at the same time, which were called the top 10 puppets who could be 1,000 with one machine. Battle breaks out. After Luhan attacked Onoki and Onoki counterattacked with a super powerful Doden, Earth-style, ninjutsu attack, all the ninjas present moved. Hundreds of ninjas from various small forces all ran out like crazy. This battle has nothing to do with them. And the others, including nearly 4,000 ninjas from Konoha, and all the ninjas from Sand, Mist, Iwa, and Taki 4 ninja villages, all joined the battle. There are still some ninjas in Konoha who participated in the war, including those younger ninjas, all of whom were involved in arranging the evacuation of the Konoha residents under Inuzuka's order. The mass evacuation of tens of thousands of residents of Konoha has already begun before the two sides can fight. Konoha has been reduced to a battlefield, and if they do not leave, there will be heavy casualties. The village is flattened and can be rebuilt again. With the ability of ninjas, rebuilding the ninja village is not difficult, but if all the people die, then everything is over. Thousands of large soil cones attacked the sky and covering the earth, each of which had the power to smash rocks. Luhan twisted his waist, and his body spiraled up, turning into a knife light that moved forward at a high speed. Sphere. Boom _ Instantly penetrated the block of the earth cone attack. Onoki, whom Luhan had killed, approached, and Chiyo and the group of 10 Jinsong were on the side. He's in Sage mode, he won't last long. Onoki shouted loudly. Be careful, he'll lose his strength in just a few minutes. Onoki naturally knows what the Sage mode is, or the big figures in the 5 ninja villages in the ninja world. After all, in the Sengoku era when the 5 ninja villages had not yet been established, Senju Hashirama had mastered and used Sage mode. There must be records. Puppet technique poison Kiba chase. Chiyo manipulated the 10 puppets to attack, and the 10 puppets turned around and swung their arms at the same time. Doden, Earth style, super weighted boulder jutsu. Onoki was also using ninjutsu almost at the same time. Luhan felt his body sinking violently. The petrification aggravating effect of the super weighted rock caused him to suddenly slow down. Boom! Hundreds of steel needles pierced Luhan's body, and the body turned into white smoke in the continuous attack of the steel needles, not the body. When Onoki's eyes widened, his spirit was highly tense. He paid attention to his surroundings. He had no idea when Luhan established his clone. Luhan's ghosts usually appear behind Chiyo, slashing with sword light. Chiyo looked horrified and turned around quickly. Puppet technique Aurora Shield Seal. Boom _. The terrifying knife light blasted Chiyo out, and the shield just formed in front of her was shattered. The 10 puppets jumped up with Chiyo and followed her back. 2 of the puppets were extremely fast, and the flickering chased after Chiyo. Behind him, catch it together. Luhan just wanted to chase, but there was a huge shock under his feet, and countless stone thorns sprang from the ground. It was Onoki who launched the ninjutsu attack. Luhan had to jump up. Trouble, Luhan scolded in his heart. What he dislikes the most is to play more than a dozen. If the opponent's strength is far behind him, it's okay to say that he can quickly level them one by one, but Chiyo and Onoki's strength is not as good as that. But by no means a huge gap. When Luhan was even more annoyed, the two were extremely experienced in combat and knew how to cooperate. When Chiyo attacked Luhan, Onoki knew that his cooperation would cause trouble for Luhan. Luhan wanted to chase and kill Chiyo, but was hindered by the trouble Onoki made. You know, these two guys have fought World War I, World War II, and World War III in the original book. The old pervert who lived to Konoha for 60 years. They are really experienced in hundreds of battles. Regardless of their ability to attack and kill, they will save their lives. The ability is absolutely top-notch. This made it more troublesome for Luhan to kill them under their mutual influence. The most troublesome ones are Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Orochimaru. Back then, if any of the 3 of them were taken out, they would be killed quickly by Hanzo, but they cooperated with each other to win Hanzo. It's as simple as doubling. Futon, wind style, sleepy roll ascension. Luhan's body was in the air, and a terrifying wind blew out, hitting Onoki directly, and with a flick of his body, he avoided Chiyo's hidden weapon and completed the hand seal again in a flash. Kaden, fire style, dragon bite. This is a technique obtained from Sarutobi Hiruzen, which belongs to the S-level Kaden, fire style, forbidden technique, which requires a large amount of chakra to perform. Luhan spat out a supergiant fire dragon dozens of meters long and attacked Chiyo directly. Attacking the forbidden technique with 2 different S levels, and attacking the 2 top powerhouses separately, Luhan is to create confusion and affect the judgments of Chiyo and Onoki. As long as they distance themselves and cooperate not so quickly, Luhan has be sure to kill one of them quickly. Luhan went to war with Onoki and Chiyo. On the other side, Namikaze Minato, Jiraiya, Tsunade, Orochimaru, Inuzuka and others have begun to fight with hundreds of ninjas led by Rasa and Yagura. Originally, Konoha was not superior in strength, and the gap was huge, while Onoki was 10,000 people. The enemy, Chiyo, is also the kind of terrifying existence that can fight a legion. But now, Chiyo and Onoki are forced to play against Luhan, and Konoha has lost the 2 biggest threats and has an overall advantage. Especially the existence of Namikaze Minato, although his ability to attack and kill is not good, but the speed of the number 1 in the ninja world makes him come and go without a trace. Killing Rasa Yagura, he can't kill him in seconds, but for those Jonin with average strength, even elite Jonin, he can be killed quickly. The battle is in full swing. And quickly heated up. Chapter 1045 but so. Bombarded Chio with the breath of destruction. Puppet technique Super Aurora Shield Seal. The 10 puppets instantly moved to a specific position. Chio was in the center. A huge chakra shield appeared in front of her, and the fire dragon bombarded it. Although it could shake it, it could not be shattered. Doden Earth-style, self-solid earth wall. On the other side, in front of Onoki, a huge earth wall with a height of 100 meters appeared, which resisted the attack of the trapped and ascended to the sky, but the agitated smoke and splashed gravel made him scrambling, and the smoke filled his sight. Boom! The deafening roar sounded like thunder. Luhan jumped out of the surging flames, smashed Chio's chakra shield with one knife, and killed Chio like a ghost, but Chio's reaction was not unpleasant. Surrounded Luhan. Puppet technique 3 Joules Suction Crushing. The 3 puppet structures were activated at the same time, sending out a violent tornado and a huge suction force, so the space was compressed. If you can't break through this formation, anything in the middle of the 3 puppet structures will be crushed into powder. However, Li Luhan said that he had no less than 10 ways to break this formation, and he chose the easiest one. Shikatsumyaku Dead Bone Pulse Dance of the Golden Amber. Boom _ Countless bone spurs protruded from all over Luhan's body. In Sage mode, he used the Kekkei Genkei Shikatsumyaku Dead Bone Pulse ability, and its power exploded. In an instant, the 3 big puppets that couldn't dodge because they were using the puppet technique were all smashed into pieces by the dense bone spurs. The golden light flickered, and the falling objects flew towards Luhan. There are 10 people in Jinsong, and 3 out of 10 are eliminated at one time. In Luhan's eyes, they are all puppet bosses at level 60, and compared to human ninjas, they are all cage level. Chio's face changed drastically. The cold light is unstoppable. Luhan started dashing forward again, his body spinning rapidly, turning into a sphere of knife light. If he wanted to crush it, he had to kill Chio quickly, otherwise it would be troublesome to wait for Onoki to intervene. Puppet technique Flower Rain Blade. The 7 puppets opened their bodies at the same time, and hundreds of shuriken flew towards Luhan. Luhan approached at a high speed, and directly broke it. Puppet technique 5 Monroe Cuts. Of the 7 puppets, 2 were protecting Chio backwards, and the other 5 were forming a formation forward. At the same time, they began to switch positions in a blink of an eye. The 5 puppets flashed back and forth, and quickly surrounded Luhan. Absolutely, every time the 5 puppets flicker and move, they will launch a hidden weapon attack, or directly approach Luhan to attack with a weapon. Similar to Namikaze Minato Hiraishin's ultimate move, except that Namikaze Minato is a person moving back and forth to attack, and Wumonro is 5 puppets. Namikaze Minato can't help Luhan, and neither can these 5 puppets. Completely ignoring these attacks, Luhan continued to approach Chio. Puppet technique Fixed Beheading. The 2 puppets who were protecting Chio suddenly disappeared. The next moment, Luhan's feet tightened. The 2 puppets jumped out of the ground and hugged his legs, causing Luhan, who was spinning at a high speed, to abruptly stop. The 2 puppets wanted to pull Luhan into the ground, but they couldn't, but at this moment, they fixed Luhan, and the airtight knife light disappeared. 5 Monroe slashes are coming. Damn it. Shikatsumyaku Dead Bone Pulse Dance of Hyafern. Luhan stood there and didn't move. Within 30 meters of his body, a terrifying forest of bone spurs instantly appeared. The 2 puppets that were underground were directly smashed, but the 5 on the surface reacted and jumped to dodge. Luhan didn't dare to set the attack range of Zhao Fern Dance too much, because it was an indiscriminate attack. He could even attack everyone in the square at the same time, but in that way, Konoha ninjas would be killed by him a lot. Chio's face has become ugly. The puppet she is proud of is simply vulnerable in front of Hangguang, and half of it is damaged so quickly. If all 10 people in Jinsong are destroyed, what will they use to fight Hangguang? Doden Earth-style Huang Izumi Sand Cover. Luhan's feet suddenly softened. The ground turned into quicksand and created a huge suction force, and the huge white bone spurs around Luhan shattered at the same time due to the change of soil quality and suction force on the ground. It's Onoki's attack. Luhan's body was dragged down in half in an instant, but with the terrifying power of his body in Sage mode, he broke free, and when his feet left the ground, he disappeared out of thin air. The 5 puppets flickered back to Chiyo's side. Puppet technique exercise personal kung fu. Chiyo threw out a new chakras with his fingers, held a short knife, squatted down slightly, and assumed a melee fighting posture. The 5 puppets made the same action at the same time. Performing in personal skills is to make the manipulated puppet have the same fighting skills as the puppet master, so it seems that 6 Chiyos are ready for melee combat, but those 5 puppets lack Chiyo's own strain. Ability. Call. Almost in no particular order, Luhan appeared in front of Chiyo out of thin air, and Onoki appeared on the other side of Chiyo. Kai. Onoki threw his hand and was about a dozen kunai, intending to force Luhan to retreat and buy more time for Chiyo to prepare. These more than 10 kunai carried strong Doden, earth-style, chakra fluctuations with a brownish-yellow color. The piercing sound was extremely sharp. At a glance, Luhan could tell that the dozen or so kunai had been heavier by Onoki, and their attack would be extremely terrifying. Flash. Luhan left an afterimage, and it seemed that he had only taken one step, then distanced himself from Onoki and Chiyo, and looked at them coldly. Hangwang, you are just like that, Onoki said with his hands behind his back. This brief confrontation between the two sides, not to mention the dead, not even the injured. However, Chiyo was killed by 5 puppets, and the advantage was obviously on Luhan's side. When Onoki said, "But that's it," it seemed like a swollen face and a fat man. Lu Leng smiled and raised his hand to finish the hand seal quickly. Shadow clone. Bang! White smoke rose around Luhan, and another Luhan appeared out of thin air. He stopped just because he felt that 1-on-2 was more troublesome, so he wanted to change the situation and solve them quickly, because Uchiha Madara could come to join the battle at any time, and that was the big boss of today's battle. Chapter 1046-Earthquake. Shadow clone. Onoki raised his eyebrows and said sarcastically, "Who do you want to use Shadow clone to resist?" It's not that Onoki looks down on Shadow clone, but Shadow clone is really crispy. It disappears once it takes damage. If you use Shadow clone for sneak attack or instant combat, that's not a problem, but if you use it for frontal combat, it won't work at all. Powerhouses like Chiyo and Onoki say that there are 100 ways to kill Shadow clone, which is not at all. Exaggerate. Luhan sneered again and waved his hand again. 2 figures, one tall and one short, appeared on both sides of Shadow clone Luhan, the faceless man and the savage shield soldier. Of these 2 puppets, the faceless man was still protecting Tsunade a few days ago, but not today, because the 2 puppets do not have the ability to do individual tasks. Luhan was dozens of kilometers away from Konoha village today, so he couldn't let the faceless man protect him. Tsunade, so it's useless. Faceless, protect the clone, target Onoki. Luhan was on the fast track and completed the hand seal at the same time. Sweden, water style, great waterfall technique. Quote. Rumbling rumble. In Sage mode, Luhan's Sweden, water style, great waterfall technique, like the sunset of the Silver River, bombarded the ground with a huge amount of water, turned into rolling waves, and rushed forward. The impact of the terrifying water current is extremely ferocious, like a flood, and even rocks can be shattered. Hide. Standing together, Onoki and Chiyo flew out at the same time, avoiding the impact of the great waterfall technique. Luhan turned into a shadow and quickly approached Chiyo, and hand seal again. Sweden, water style, rain shower. Boom, 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 boom. One after another, huge water balloons fell into the sky and bombarded Onoki and Chiyo, forcing them to further distance themselves in the process of dodging. The ninjas are all affected. The water environment is very favorable for Kurigakure ninjas. Many people glanced in the direction of Lu Han, and then retreated at the same time. They had to stay away from the pervert of Han Guang and go to fight elsewhere. Otherwise, it would be too wrong to be affected by Han Guang's ultimate move. Onoki was entangled by the two puppets, the faceless man attacked and the shield soldier was the main defender, while shadow clone Lu Han kept a distance from Onoki and attacked with ninjutsu. The two puppets are both level 60 gold bosses, and the strength of the faceless man has reached the limit of the level 60 class. The two cooperate seamlessly, and the outbreak of combat power is not as simple as 1 + 1 = 2. Although there is still a gap with Onoki, it is not a problem to hold Onoki in a short time. Moreover, Lu Han has established a water environment and has restraint on Onoki Doden, Earth-style ninjutsu. He will not easily cast Jinten particle style because it is his ultimate move, and casting Jinten particle style will consume a lot of energy. Chakra is not easy to use. Lu Han rushed towards Chiyo, and the speed was too fast to bring a gust of wind and a wave on the water. Puppet technique harmony between steps. Chiyo had already drawn out the short knife, and the arms of the 5 puppets also ejected half-blades. The figure of 6 paths maintained the same posture. When Lu Han rushed to the front, they all moved, and they formed an encirclement attack in conjunction with the knife. Ding ding! With the rapid and deafening impact, Lu Han displayed the waterfall knife rain. He was attacking Chiyo, but suffered a joint counterattack from Chiyo and 5 puppets, 1 knife to 6 knives. Within a few breaths of the first fight, Lu Han was unable to kill him. It's broken. Chiyo was under a lot of pressure. Lu Han's high-frequency sharp knife, although he gave up some powerful skills in pursuit of the speed of the knife, but each knife is still very heavy. Chiyo and the 5 puppets are almost stepping back. The puppets are made, but the problem is not big, but Chiyo was already a little unsteady with the knife, and his arm was numb. Lu Han took out the knife frantically and stepped forward. Vaguely, he had already heard the crunch sound before the puppet was about to collapse. Chiyo jerked back. The 5 puppets did not retreat with her, but together they resisted Lu Han again. Puppet technique darkness. Chi-chi. At the same time as the 5 puppets fired their knives, their toes opened their toes and shot out hidden weapons, and shot at Lu Han's calf with a bottom-up angle. Lu Han's figure was instantly illusory, leaving an afterimage on the spot, appearing on top of the 5 puppets, turning over the puppets, and attacking Chiyo. Puppet technique instant body. Chiyo suddenly appeared in front of Lu Han, replaced by only one of the 5 puppets left. Blast. Boom _. While Lu Han took a fancy to the puppet exploded. If the S-level Kaden fire style forbidden technique broke out in place. In a short moment, the flames engulfed Lu Han and rapidly expanded into a supergiant fireball with a diameter of over 50 meters. Chiyo actually detonated her super puppet. The way, one-on-one, she couldn't stand Lu Han's pursuit at all. The movement here caught everyone's attention. Cold, Tsunade, who was fighting someone in the distance, screamed. Call. A terrifying figure emerged from the flames, chasing after Chiyo, who had retreated to avoid the explosion. Cold light. Electric light flickers on his body, and the Radiant Thunder style chakra mode has become very unstable, but after all, it has not been broken. Although Lu Han's Radiant Thunder style chakra mode is not the strongest, he is in Sage mode. Condition. Vital point judgment. Lu Han opened the exclusive ability for subversives that he had already obtained. Puppets are so annoying. Chiyo still has 4 puppets left, and Lu Han has already planned to kill them all first. Kill Chiyo again. While Chiyo certainly has other backup puppets available, it's not as good as the Kinmatsu 10 people. The chaos in the core area near the Hokage building in Konoha village is expanding. Sudden. Boom. Earthquake. The entire Konoha shook violently, and then, an unparalleled terrifying aura came from the position of the garrison in the northwest area of Konoha village. Who was approaching Chiyo, suddenly stopped and looked back coldly. The earthquake was still going on. On the empty training ground of the garrison core, the ground cracked open, and a behemoth that looked like dead wood rose slowly from the ground, getting higher and higher, like a hill. Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path. Uchiha Madara is finally making an official appearance. Chapter 1047 Madara debuts. The thousands of ninjas who were scrambling stopped when Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, began to appear, because they were all stunned and had no idea of the ultimate Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path. What is it? The village of Konoha is very large, and the Hokage building is far away from the garrison's garrison, but because Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, is so huge, it is like a mountain, so even if it is far away, you can see everything here. Come on. Chio, who had been stressed all the time, finally breathed a sigh of relief. The development of the situation is not the same as the original plan. It was originally supposed to be Uchiha Madara holding back Han Guang, and Onoki led Chio and others to act in Konoha, but Han Guang returned early, leading to a war. Fortunately, Uchiha Madara kept his word. He came. Rumble rumble card. The earthquake finally stopped, and Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, stood in the village of Konoha, and all surrounding buildings were made small by its presence. What is this? Aura, what a terrible aura. Behind that thing. The sound of shock rang out. Whether it was the ninjas from Konoha or the ninjas from Mist, Sand, Rock, Taki and other forces, they all stopped to stop fighting. Although they were on guard against each other, they did not have the idea of fighting to the death immediately, and they all watched from afar. Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path. This is. Uchiha Fugaku, who is holding the bloody sword, stared into the distance. He vaguely remembered that he seemed to have seen a pattern of similar things in the ancient biography of the family, but he couldn't recall it for a while. North of Konoha village, in the forest. In the huge team of tens of thousands of people, the young ninjas who participated in escorting the residents and some of the garrison ninjas also stopped and looked at Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path. Hatake Kakashi and Nohara Rin were all shocked, and the mysterious Uchiha Obito has complicated eyes. He knows what it is. Saw it every day until he returned to Konoha. In front of the Hokage building. This is Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path. Kaharu Udatane murmured, looking away. She hadn't seen Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path before, but the cold light brought Uchiha Obito back a few days ago later. Uchiha Obito said something about Uchiha Madara and Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path. Not only she knows, but Namikaze Minato, Homura Mitokado, Inuzuka Giyu and others also know. Luhan clenched the sword of astonishment and narrowed his eyes slightly. With his eyesight, although Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, was far away, he could see very clearly. Uchiha Madara's breath was almost the same as Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path. Of the outer path coincides, right there. Insight maps show that the great Yuhi, named Uchiha Madara, is indeed in the same location as Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path. Cold. Call. Tsunade flickered beside Luhan. Her expression was a little anxious, but her eyes were firm. She wanted to fight side by side with Luhan. I will win. I will kill him. Trust me. Luhan turned his head and said quickly, Myanmar and Amon will protect you, don't come here. Tsunade is Luhan's weakness. In fact, she participated in the battle, although she could some effects, but the negative effects are greater. Once she is held hostage by Uchiha Madara, there will be disastrous consequences. At Luhan's call, the faceless man and the savage shield soldier moved behind Tsunade. Shadow Clone, who had been fighting against Onoki before, also returned to Luhan's side. The moment he made contact with Luhan, he turned into the white smoke disappeared. Shadow Clone will take away a lot of chakra from the main body, but if the caster takes the initiative to disperse the clone, he can absorb the chakra back. Chakra is the transformation of mental energy from physical energy, and Luhan can also use mental energy to convert chakra into physical energy again. This is the lowest loss. I'm going, be careful. Luhan explained and disappeared. At the same time, a figure appeared above Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, in the distance. Uchiha Madara with a wrinkled face and finally old age, white hair flying but full of breath, holding a sickle, carrying Gunbai Uchiwa on his back, and wearing a ninja costume officially appeared. After he appeared, the terrifying aura quickly converged and restrained in his body. The unprovoked release of a powerful breath has no other effect than oppressing the enemy. Naturally, Uchiha Madara's breath cannot put pressure on Luhan, so he took it back, otherwise it would be a waste of chakra. Who is that? Looks like 100 years old. Who is it? Doubts. Uchiha Madara's appearance is shocking, directly causing an earthquake. But no one knows him at all. That's... Uchiha Fugaku stared. He saw Uchiha Madara's Sharingan, and the Gunbai Uchiwa he was wearing behind his back. Gunbai Uchiwa is also found in the Uchiha clan, but it is a replica and fake. The real Gunbai Uchiwa was held by Uchiha Madara, the head of the Uchiha clan more than 40 years ago, and after the final battle between Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama, Gunbai Uchiwa disappeared. He is, Uchiha Fugaku guessed. After all, it is no secret that Uchiha Madara is still alive. He is Uchiha Madara, Tsunade said suddenly and sharply, making all suspicious voices abruptly stopped. It is him who secretly provoked all parties in the ninja world and caused many wars. Near the garrison station, on the watchtower, Luhan appeared out of thin air, stepped on the top of the tower with one foot, and stared at Uchiha Madara who was standing above Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, no more than 100 meters away from him. It's really lively. Uchiha Madara grinned at Luhan with a hoarse and playful voice. Isn't this what you want? Lu Leng sneered. Destroy this place. Destroy the Konoha village you built with Senju Hashirama. Is this your ideal? This place has changed. Uchiha Madara glanced at the vast Konoha village. The buildings, the streets, become unfamiliar to me. This place is not the same Konoha it used to be, full of lies, hypocrisy, and sin. You always have your reasons. Luhan mocked. He didn't do it right away because he was waiting. If there was a fight here, Onoki would be very troublesome. He hoped that Onoki would come to help Uchiha Madara, although he would become very dangerous himself. You are not my opponent. Luhan raised his brows. Do you think so? Uchiha Madara tilted her head and suddenly spread her arms. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, threw 3 tubes out of his back, wriggled like a snake, rushed up, and slammed into Uchiha Madara's back. Chapter 1048 Madara's weakness. Those 3 pipes pierced into Uchiha Madara's spine, the Jinchuriki column, and were completely connected to Uchiha Madara. At this moment, Uchiha Madara's breath has changed, becoming more calm, with an unfathomable sense of depth, and the Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, under his feet also radiates life at this moment. The breath, this breath, very much like Uchiha Madara. It's like 1/47th year of Konoha, as Uchiha Madara mentioned in the original work. There were always several pipes connected behind him, which were connected to Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, and Uchiha Madara was in this way to maintain its own vitality. And in this world, Luhan saw Uchiha Madara for the first time. It was 32 years of Konoha, and until now, 15 years have passed. This should be the first time that Uchiha Madara has let his body, outer path connected. Uchiha Madara of this world is obviously different from the original. Because Luhan has been in this world for too long, it has produced an incomparably huge butterfly effect, which directly affected Uchiha Madara, and even, 10 years ago, Tsunade had severely damaged Uchiha Madara. So many differences. And now, at last, there is something in common. You put your vitality entirely on Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, in exchange for stronger vitality and greater control over Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path. Luhan said slowly, squinting his eyes guessing, So, as long as I cut off your connection to Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, now, you will die, right? That's right. Uchiha Madara was extremely calm, not worried at all because Luhan discovered his weakness. His spirit was actually improving, and his spirit and energy had reached a new height. As of now, I don't need to hide it from you, because since you guessed it, you will definitely try to cut it off. Uchiha Madara grinned. That's right at all, cut off the connection and I'll die. I have the ability. Come though. As soon as Uchiha Madara finished speaking, his hands were as fast as lightning. He hung the sickle around his waist, and then he folded his hands together, maintaining the gesture of hand seal. The terrifying aura erupted in an all-round way. Uchiha Madara danced wildly with white hair, eyes sharp as electricity. Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, also opened 9 eyes at this moment, and some kind of crazy color flashed in the bloody Yuhi-colored eyes. It moved. The huge hands stretched out violently, supported the ground, leaned forward, put on a very oppressive posture, opened his mouth and let out a roar. Howl _. The terrifying sound wave brought a violent wind and swept the entire Konoha village in an instant. This is because although it can't cause any substantial damage, it is shocking. It's different. Completely different. Uchiha Madara and Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, who were like one, gave Luhan an extremely dangerous feeling, but Luhan was in sage mode. When Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, leaned forward and roared, Luhan had already jumped back and opened up the distance. Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, is too big. It moves a little bit. It is dozens or hundreds of meters. Distance, thousands of ninjas, many of them showing horror. Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, is really terrible, although it has not shown any combat power or destruction, but it is only that the imposing manner, that incomparably huge body, will make people feel intimidated. Ha! Luhan suddenly laughed, very coldly. It's just an empty shell, but you dare to show off your power. As soon as he finished speaking, Luhan threw more than 10 stars, all of which were Hiraishin Kunwu, and hit Geto Mazo directly. Demonic statue of the outer path, Uchiha Madara above his head. Luhan also disappeared out of thin air. Knife light up. Thunder flashed. Luhan appeared within 10 meters of Uchiha Madara along with Hiraishin Kunwu. Almost at the same time, more than 10 rays of lightning burst out from behind Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, not only successfully forcing Luhan back, but also shooting those still flying. All Hiraishin kunai were destroyed. Kaden, fire style, great fire destruction. Uchiha Madara immediately released ninjutsu. The huge flame arrow flew 100 meters away, and Luhan avoided, but the large building complex behind him was stunned. The flames bombarded the ground, directly destroyed several houses, and the shock wave that erupted almost swept away half a block. Distance, on the edge of the battlefield in front of the Hokage building. Onoki and Chio looked at each other and moved at the same time. According to the agreement, once Uchiha Madara and Han Guang fight, they must support Uchiha Madara in order to kill Han Guang as soon as possible. Everyone understands that one-on-one, Han Guang is invincible. The former Uchiha Madara may be able to defeat the cold light, but the current Uchiha Madara is old and dying. In fact, both Onoki and Chio are unwilling to face the cold light directly. It is too dangerous. The two are not opponents of Han Guang when they are tied together, but if a Uchiha Madara is added, the scale of victory will naturally be tilted towards them. Onoki and Chio just disappeared. The battle in the distance has just been fought for a round. The thousands of ninjas on guard against each other. Behind Yagura, a figure suddenly appeared silently, with a black body, Black Zetsu. Go, Black Zetsu said quickly in Yagura's ear, and disappeared again. After a few seconds. Sweden, water style, bite by the waves. Among the crowd, more than 10 water dragons set off huge waves. Fight again. Black Zetsu appeared on the roof of the Hokage building, which had not collapsed, and quickly glanced at the battlefield. The corner of his mouth raised a strange arc, and disappeared again. He did not participate in the war, although his combat effectiveness is also very strong, especially the lethality of sneak attacks, very pervert. But he has more important things to deal with. The garrison camp, Luhan is trying again and again, trying to get close to Uchiha Madara and launch an attack, but it always backfires. Uchiha Madara's problem lies in his longevity and his weakened body. His consciousness is still very strong, so his reaction speed is by no means weak. Luhan. He was attacking, and so was Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path. Lightning, flames, chakra dragons, and chains blocked Luhan again and again. Doden, Earth-style, Iwakiri Hiroshi. Onoki finally showed up, and threw out a jet black soil thorn with his hand. Pervert, who had a fast attack speed, and Luhan, who had just smashed ninjutsu with Uchiha, managed to dodge the blow very dangerously. Looking for death, Luhan stared, glanced at Onoki, turned into blue lightning and quickly approached Onoki. Puppet Technique Organization Network trapped. Luhan just rushed to Onoki when the ground exploded. Chapter 1049 Sage Mode Susanoo. The ground burst, and countless rubble splashed into the sky. The 5 puppets that sneaked into the ground at some point, each wielding 2 metal whips more than 10 meters long with both arms, forming a dense attack network of 10 metals. Luhan's Thor armor was hit several times, but this level of attack was not enough to break the Guardian of Raiden Thunder-style chakra mode. However, Luhan's speed suddenly slowed down a lot. Onoki retires and completes the hand seal again, Doden Earth-style overweight rock shackles. Boom, boom. The ground on both sides of Luhan cracked, and 2 extremely thick rock chains sprang from the ground, twisting and smashing towards Luhan. Kaiden, Fire-style, Dance of Fire. On the other side, on the huge Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, Uchiha Madara also completed the hand seal, which blew a terrifying fire almost immediately after Onoki attacked. Hundreds of fire snakes with a diameter of more than 1 meter and a length of tens of meters are twisted and hit, densely packed, like the dark yuhi that the sky has been burned. This is definitely an S-level Kaiden, Fire-style, forbidden technique, which is not mentioned in the original book. There is such a ninjutsu in the arrogant fire department, but it does not mean that it does not exist. An entire block in the east of the garrison station was within the attack range of this ninjutsu. Luhan dodged frantically. He is annoying. He is not afraid of anyone one-on-one, and fights ninjutsu with Uchiha Madara. Even if Uchiha Madara uses the power of Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, Luhan is in sage mode, and his ninjutsu is always in sage art. The category, the power is extraordinary. However, 1-on-2, 1-on-3, which made it difficult for Luhan to keep up with their rhythm. He released 1 ninjutsu, but the other party had already released 3. Onoki and Chio are not ordinary people, they are all top ninjas. Existence, especially Onoki, he is stronger than the old Onoki whose fighting power is outstanding in the original book. This is the Hokage building. Thousands of ninjas went into full-scale battle again, and this time the battle was even more intense. The Hokage building was destroyed by the aftermath of ninjutsu in a very short time. However, before today's battle began, both sides talked about it for a long time. During that time inside, the important materials in the Hokage building have been transferred, and the coffin of Sarutobi Hiruzen has long been transported away by Anbu. The village of Konoha is being destroyed, and as the 2 battlefields expand, it won't be long before the entire Konoha is in ruins. Luhan alone was besieged by Uchiha Madara, Onoki, and Chio. It can't be said how difficult the fight is. Although the 3 of them together can suppress him in a short time, it is under the premise that Luhan is eager to kill. If Luhan immediately stops and evacuates, no one can stop him. Uchiha Madara's mobility is very poor. Onoki and Chio couldn't keep up with him either. However, Luhan didn't feel like walking. He's going to kill Uchiha Madara. He was attacking again and again, being counterattacked again and again, and being blocked again and again. Puppet Technique Shinsha Storm. Doden, Earth Style, Flying Meteor Art. Kaden, Fire Style, Burning Technique. The puppet was releasing a hidden weapon, and the huge rock swirled, and the sea of fire was raging. Luhan moved at super high speed and turned into blue lightning. While dodging the attack, he circled around the huge Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path. Several blocks around had been beaten to ruins. He wanted to go around Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path behind, find the right angle to attack Uchiha Madara. Chiyo appears on the shoulder of Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, rushing to complete the hand seal. Spiritual. Bang bang bang. The dense white smoke exploded around Chiyo's body, and up to hundreds of puppets of different shapes appeared one after another. Chiyo waved his hands again, and his 10 fingers chakras stabbed hundreds of puppets again and again. Hundreds of puppets jumped down from Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, and deployed around Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path. Luhan wanted to get close to Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path. They had to pass by them. They were besieging Luhan, and as long as they were within a certain range from Luhan, they would explode. Chiyo is also down the blood. These puppets are expensive to build, and their combat effectiveness is not weak. Using self-destruction is completely a loser, but except for the 10 people in Jinsong, Chiyo's other backup puppets have no chance of confronting Luhan head-on. Rather than being killed in seconds, better to blow yourself up. Luhan was already fed up. He was completely in a state of self-defense and lack of attack. Onoki was annoying and Chiyo was also annoying. Although the biggest threat was from Uchiha Madara, Luhan was not afraid of him one-on-one. Don't force me. Luhan's irritable mood has reached a critical value. He also has a useless big move, which can be regarded as a whole card. The reason why Luhan doesn't use it is because he doesn't know what the consequences will be after using it. He is in Sage mode. Whether in the original book or in this world, there is no such thing as people have used this trick in Sage mode. So, what kind of changes will happen and what kind of consequences, it is still unknown. Contrary to what Onoki had guessed before, Luhan's Sage mode can last for a long period of time instead of a few minutes. His Sage mode is different, not from the 3 major cultivation sites, but obtained through exchange. Doden, Earth Style, Stone Dragon Art. Onoki appeared not far behind Luhan again. As he completed the hand seal, a super huge rock dragon sprang from the ground in front of him. I'm fucking Doden, Earth Style. Luhan couldn't take it anymore. He turned around suddenly, and folded his hands together. At this moment, the energy mantra of Yuhi color and the vast blue light erupted on him, and his eternal Mangekyo Sharingan eyes spun rapidly. Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, also has a giant power giant. Sage mode Susanoo. This Susanoo may be more than 120 meters. The whole body is blue, but covered with some Yuhi-colored patterns. He holds a huge shield in the left and a huge sickle in the right. I still remember that in the original work, Uchiha Madara Sasuke used the power of Chongo to attach natural energy to his Susanoo, making Susanoo's attack with the nature of sage art, but Uchiha Sasuke himself cannot be immortalized. Natural energy is borrowed, completely different from Luhan's current Susanoo. Luhan's Susanoo is a real immortal Susanoo. Rumbling, _ The huge rock dragon bombarded the immortal Susanoo, unable to shake it, and it exploded into countless broken rocks. Chapter 1050_rolling. This is. Onoki's eyes widened, his face full of shock. It's not that he has never seen such a big Susanoo, even bigger than this. Uchiha Madara opened the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan in the Sengoku era. His full-body Susanoo is bigger than this. However, the immortal Susanoo is completely different in the fluctuation of aura. It is the aura with Sage mode. Onoki can't believe that Susanoo even has Sage mode. You must know that the improvement of Sage mode to Ninja is several times or even dozens of times. If it is placed on Susanoo. Chiyo's hundreds of puppets launched a suicide attack on the immortal Susanoo. They collided again and again and blew themselves up again and again. The highest blow was on the position of the immortal Susanoo's calf, and it was impossible to break the defense. Uchiha Madara stands at Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, and needs to raise his head to see the full face of the immortal Susanoo. Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, is not as tall as the immortal Susanoo in his kneeling position. As Luhan had expected, when Susanoo was cast in Sage mode, it really produced uncontrollable changes. Susanoo became bigger and stronger only on one hand. On the other hand, it was Luhan's chakra consumption speed. It was more than 10 times faster. Luhan's Sage Art chakra is consuming like crazy. Although his chakra volume is comparable to that of a tailed beast, such a huge consumption is that his battle duration is greatly shortened. Sage Art's chakra volume is a combination of physical energy, spiritual energy, and natural energy, and among them, spiritual energy is used for extraction and transformation. Although it will be consumed, it will never be exhausted before the body's energy is exhausted. Natural energy is absorbed from the outside world, which can be said to be endless. The only problem is body energy. Luhan estimated that, with the current chakra consumption rate, he can hold on for 10 minutes at most, and his body energy will bottom out. If he doesn't quit Sage mode and remove Susanoo, he will die of exhaustion. Although in the Sage mode state, the body recovers very fast, and Luhan is a subversive, and his own recovery ability is very strong, but the immortal Susanoo, the consumption of chakra is really terrible. But then again, 10 minutes seems like enough. Damn it. The super huge fairy Susanoo moved, and the momentum of the top of the mountain rolled towards Onoki. The supergiant energy sickle with an overall length of more than 150 meters was swung up and bombarded. At this moment, the landslides. Konoha earthquake. It's like an earthquake again. Under the attack of the sickle, Onoki looked extremely small. He had already used all his escape skills, but the attack range of the immortal Susanoo was too large. If he moved, he could attack within a radius of 1 kilometer. Can't escape. 2 blocks were cut into ruins by the immortal Susanoo with a knife, and a dark crack appeared on the ground, I don't know how deep. Onoki's body flickered frequently, looking extremely embarrassed. Rumbling _ Another knife, although it didn't hit Onoki. After all, it is now attacking Onoki with such a huge sickle. It has the visual sense of a cannon hitting a mosquito, but it is not so accurate. However, the gust of wind brought by the huge sickle waving affects Onoki. Onoki, the most powerful, was blown away by the strong wind, and rolled along with the rubble that rolled like a wave. Many hit him at any time, tearing his clothes and ripping his skin. He was extremely embarrassed, and after rolling out 100 meters, he was covered in blood. There is absolutely no fighting back. The most terrifying thing about Susanoo is that it has both offense and defense. The huge energy body can attack and defend, so as long as Susanoo reaches a certain strength, it will become fearless and can ignore any attack. Luhan is ignoring any attack now. Although Susanoo is too big to be easily attacked, Sage Art Chakra, natural energy, makes Luhan's Susanoo not only not afraid of ordinary attacks, but some strange attacks on him. Don't be afraid. In the original work, Sasuke's Susanoo adds natural energy to form a Sage Art attack, but it can cause effective damage to Ten Tails Jinchuriki Column Force Uchiha Obito. This is an extraordinary energy. Luhan chased and killed Onoki again and again. Clearing mobs first and then fighting bosses is his current tactic. Otherwise, he will always be harassed by mobs when fighting bosses. Luhan is already tired of this. There is still something in Onoki that is worthy of Luhan's jealousy, that is Jinten particle style. One knife after another, huge ravines appeared on the ground. Onoki looked very small in it. He had already vomited blood. I don't know if it was because of the forbidden technique. Damn, Onoki was also a little crazy. Strange aura fluctuations appeared on him and surged up. Doten, earth style. Futon, wind style. Kaden, fire style. Blood is eliminated. Jinten, particle style, split detachment of the primitive world technique. Onoki flew into the air, and a huge translucent cone appeared between his hands, bombarding Luhan. Finally come. Luhan couldn't dodge at all, because Sage Art Suzanu's target was too large to move effectively and quickly. He waved a huge energy sickle and hit the translucent cone directly. Boom. Wow underscore. The huge energy sickle was directly blasted into powder stars and dissipated with the wind. But that's all. Onoki's split detachment of the primitive world technique only smashed Sage Art Suzanu's weapon, but did not hurt Luhan a hair at all, and the injury on Susanoo can be repaired through energy. That said, Onoki's single blow didn't have a really meaningful substantive effect. His face was embarrassed, and he retreated backwards while spurting blood. He thought that split detachment of the primitive world technique should be able to penetrate Susanoo and hurt Luhan inside, but it backfired. Huh, Luhan smiled, a little hideous. Sage Art Susanoo's sickle quickly grew out again. Onoki's condition was very bad. His speed was more than doubled than before. If Luhan attacked again, he might not be able to escape. Uchiha Madara, what are you waiting for? Onoki shouted hoarsely. Chapter 1051 The Death of Onoki. This may be the most thrilling moment of Onoki's life. Uchiha Madara on Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, looked extremely gloomy. Luhan's immortal Susanoo was unexpected. After all, there was no precedent, and no one could judge whether Susanoo could also be immortalized. A close call. Onoki's cry came into Uchiha Madara's ears, but Uchiha Madara didn't move. Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, kept kneeling and crawling, just staring at the immortal Susanoo without moving. Boom, boom, boom. The huge energy knives bombarded one after another, and the landslides and the ground split. Onoki narrowly escaped the attack, but was affected by the aftermath and vomited blood again. Uchiha Madara, Onoki was so angry that Uchiha Madara ignored him. Boom, boom, boom. Uchiha Madara, you must die. Boom underscore. Wow underscore. On the battlefield filled with deep ravines, with Luhan's final blow, Onoki's frantic aura suddenly disappeared, golden light shone, and hundreds of falling objects shot into the sky. Onoki died. He died. Just die. Died under the violent attack of the immortal Susanoo, and died under the attack of Luhan, who was in the strongest state. The attack power of the immortal Susanoo must have broken the 70th level and entered the 80th level. Therefore, Onoki can't bear it. It is normal. On the ground full of ravines, Onoki's body could not be seen, because he was beaten with no bones left. If it weren't for the shining golden light, even Luhan would not be sure that he really killed him. All of them have extremely strong means of life-saving, and have extremely strong ability to hide. 70 Bronze Boss is not the first kill. So far, Luhan has killed 4 level 70 Bronze Bosses, the 3rd generation Kazekage, the 3rd generation Hokage, the 3rd generation Tsuchikage, and the demigod Hanzo. In fact, if Luhan can choose, he will definitely choose Sarutobi Hiruzen. Kill, but no if. Chiyo appeared on the ground ruins hundreds of meters away from Luhanzu, looking at the extremely huge Susanoo from a distance, and glanced at it. She is looking for Onoki. Just now, Luhan attacked Onoki madly and Chiyo was hiding. She wanted to observe some situations and wait for an opportunity to rescue Onoki. She also made a guess about the time when Luhan used Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path. But I didn't expect it, it seems. It's over. Onoki's last piercing cry filled Chiyo's heart with unease and panic. The sound disappeared, the breath disappeared, and the battle was temporarily terminated. Is he dead? Uchiha Madara still had a gloomy face, standing on top of Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, staring at Luhan. The supergiant Susanoo turned around, and Luhan also looked at Uchiha Madara. He had to admit that he underestimated Uchiha Madara, underestimated his cruelty, underestimated his lower limit, and did not know what agreement he reached with Onoki. It doesn't matter anymore, he tore up the agreement, treachery, and watched Onoki get killed. There is no doubt that Uchiha Madara has not considered who to ally with in the future, and he has lost the faith that even the villains should abide by. Of course, having said that, Luhan will not let him live through today. Perhaps, Uchiha Madara also took this battle as the last battle in this life. Just watch him die like this. Luhan said sarcastically, are you not ashamed? Uchiha Madara, after today, you will be the most contemptible despicable villain in the ninja world. You will stink eternal. In fact, if you don't considering the position, I admire Onoki a lot, and you will only make people scorn. Quote. Ha! Uchiha Madara with a gloomy face sneered, his wrinkled cheeks filled with incomprehensible arrogance. This world. There is no morality to speak of, full of filth, it's to save the world, so I don't do anything wrong. Onoki is useless. That's why he deserves to die. And he died well. Han Guang, you killed him, not me. Uchiha Madara's last words woke up Luhan. Everything has a purpose. Uchiha Madara will not kill a person for no reason, nor will he betray his trust for no reason. Onoki is really useless. He was injured to such a degree by Luhan, he has no strength in battle, and he can't then form an effective help to Uchiha Madara, and if Onoki escapes, likely to break the alliance. At the Hokage building, hundreds of ninjas from various forces will choose to give up the fight and leave because of Onoki's retreat. Under such circumstances, Uchiha Madara's situation will be very bad. So Uchiha Madara let Luhan kill Onoki. Only in this way, today's battle will continue. Han Guang, as the murderer who killed Onoki, will become the mortal enemy of Iwagakure village. Over the Hokage building, Onoki's son is also there. As long as he finds Onoki dead, will inevitably lead Iwagakure to the death battle with Konoha. To admit, Uchiha Madara's wisdom is very pervert. He figured out a lot of things in the time he was able to make a close call, so as to make the decision that was most beneficial to him. Two battlefields are far apart. The ninjas on the Hokage building, apart from seeing the two giants, could not hear the conversation between Luhan and Uchiha Madara clearly, only Chiyo could be heard. Her face was pale, and it was certain that Onoki was already dead. Can we still fight this battle? Can Uchiha Madara still be trusted? Obviously not. Chiyo's figure suddenly disappeared in place, and the insight map showed that she was quickly rushing to the direction of the battlefield in the Hokage building. Chiyo must not be able to escape. At most, she will rush to another battlefield, although she is the strongest among the Sunagakure ninjas present. Yes, but not the master, who can decide whether to withdraw or continue fighting. It is the fourth generation Kazekage Rasa. Finally clean. Onoki died in battle, and Chiyo, who lost most of his cage-level puppets, retreated. On this battlefield, only Luhan and Uchiha Madara were left. No greeting, no warning, the supergiant immortal Susanoo moved. The mountain-like body was oppressed by the power of heaven, and the knife light tore the folds of the space. Gedo Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, also sprang up at this moment, faster than Luhan imagined. Chapter 1042-Betray. Gedo Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, is not as tall as the immortal Susanoo in his crouching posture, but after he jumped up, his huge body stood up. The sickle slashed in anger. On the Uchiha Madara hand seal on Gedo Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, a huge thunderbolt flashed out, hitting the scythe, knocking the scythe away. Gedo Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, took advantage of the trend, and slammed with a dead wood-colored oversized fist. Boom! The huge fist slammed into the huge shield. Immortal Susanoo resisted the blow with the shield of the other hand, but took a step back. The ground under his feet cracked and a big hole was formed, and the whole Konoha was shocked. Hangguang, suffer! Uchiha Madara's mouth curled into a wicked smile. Gedo Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, suddenly became crazy, and his huge fist slammed on the shield again and again, knocking the immortal Susanoo back step by step. Luhan tried to counterattack with a scythe, but it was always unsuccessful, as if he was locked. Every time Luhan swung the knife, a thunderbolt would strike and knock the knife away. No, Uchiha Madara can't be this strong. He is dying of old age. Even if he becomes one with Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, he can't have such strength. Lu Han was completely suppressed and beaten. Something is wrong. Mention the current Uchiha Madara. Even the Uchiha Madara 10 years ago, should not have this kind of strength. Hangguang, I see how long you can hold on. Uchiha Madara shouted. He's crazy. Reason why Lu Han thinks so is because Uchiha Madara's attack is fierce, but there is not much strategy in it. He is completely relying on the huge body and strength of Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, to attack, with few skills. This is like the last explosion of a powerful ninja before the lamp runs out. He's overdrawing his life. He still has life to overdraw. No, he's a Senjuhashirama's cells. He's burning Senjuhashirama's cells. Lu Han understood. Moreover, he already felt a strong sense of death in Uchiha Madara. This guy has regarded this battle as the last battle of his life. He has not reserved, and may even use some kind of forbidden technique, in order to increase his strength in a short period of time, and the price of all this will be his life. Give it a go regardless of the consequences. It might only take a few minutes, and even if Uchiha Madara really defeated Lu Han, he might die. Exhausted yourself. Oh, I'm courting death. Lu Han began to give up the attack and turned to defend with all his strength. He had already seen through Uchiha Madara's state, so there was no need to take a big risk to confront Uchiha Madara head-on. As long as he resisted this wave of attacks, Uchiha Madara would be finished. Sage Susanoo, Ten-Tails Body Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path. The two behemoths moved and fought in Konoha village, and all the places they passed turned into ruins. There was no need for a complicated attack, because it was too big, and a random movement would cause a devastating blow to the surroundings. The battle between the two has entered the most intense white-hot stage. Lu Han seems to be in danger, but in fact, the real danger is Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Madara is reckless. In just 5 minutes, two behemoths had already smashed a third of Konoha into ruins, and even the terrain had changed, with huge pits and hills appearing. The death energy in Uchiha Madara was already strong to a certain extent, and Lu Han could even feel that his body function was declining. Hold on a little longer, maybe 1 more minute, and Uchiha Madara will die. Boom boom. Hundreds of terrifying thunderbolts emerged from the back of Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, bombarding the immortal Susanoo intensively. Lu Han retreated for half a kilometer before stopping. Of course, for the immortal Susanoo, half a kilometer, that is, a few steps away. Uchiha Madara stopped, panting violently and looking at Lu Han. Isn't it okay? Lu Han asked with cold eyes. Ha! Uchiha Madara showed a strange smile that made Lu Han very uneasy. This smile contained something that Lu Han couldn't understand. I admit, I can't beat you, I have tried my best. It's not your style to admit defeat. Lu Han said sarcastically. I really lost this battle. Uchiha Madara said uncharacteristically, however, ha 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 ha. Crazy laugh. You can die. Lu Han shouted angrily. Regardless of whether Uchiha Madara was playing tricks, the immortal Susanoo moved. Ha ha ha, you haven't started yet. What are you waiting for? Uchiha Madara shouted with a loud laugh. The sound of thunder resounded throughout the Konoha hidden village. Without any hesitation, Lu Han slashed down with the ripping sound of the huge sickle. Boom _ Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, was blasted away. And at the same time, Hokage building on the battlefield. The 4 figures of Tsunade, Orochimaru, Faceless Man, Barbarian Shield Soldier are fighting with Yagura, and Chio who came later, plus many envoys, and the big moves are frequent, and the scene is extremely chaotic. Uchiha Madara's voice came. She was always behind Tsunade's side. Orochimaru, who was assisting Tsunade, changed his eyes and glanced at Tsunade's back with a strange look. A black metal rod slipped out of his sleeve, covered with dark shadows. Yuhi-colored curse print pattern. he immediately turned into an afterimage. Tsunade. Orochimaru called out Tsunade. What? Tsunade was a little distracted for a moment. Poochie. The black metal rod penetrated Tsunade's shoulder blades in an instant, pierced through his back, and stabbed out from under his collarbone. At this moment, Tsunade's body seemed to freeze, keeping his body leaning forward to fight forward, while Orochimaru's standing behind her, holding a black metal rod in his hand. There are curse marks all over his body. The ninjas around were stunned. Even Yagura and Chio subconsciously stopped their attacks and looked at the situation with a bewildered expression. Tsunade turned his head in disbelief, and out of the corner of his eye glanced at Orochimaru's pale, bloodless face. Sorry. Orochimaru's voice was hoarse and his eyes were complicated. At this moment, Tsunade's heart was twisted. She did not expect that she would be betrayed by her best brother and most loyal partner. Ah! Tsunade raised her head and screamed, her body chakra flowing frantically. She wanted to fight back, but couldn't raise her strength. The black metal rod that pierced her shoulders had sealed her. Chapter 1053-Blackened Orochimaru. Tsunade has a heart that will never be afraid and never admit defeat. Even if the knife is on her neck, she may fight back desperately. However, in the face of absolute power, only a moment of a strong heart is not enough. Orochimaru strikes first, and Tsunade never thought that Orochimaru would attack him, and with Orochimaru's understanding of Tsunade, if he doesn't strike, as long as he strikes, Tsunade will definitely not have a chance to counterattack. The shoulder blades quickly dyed Tsunade's clothes, and the pain deep into the bone stimulated Tsunade's nerves. Tsunade's breath was extremely violent, like a sealed-tailed beast. He wanted to break free from the seal, but he did not. That weird black metal rod, with the dark Yuhi-colored curse pattern on the metal rod, had locked up Tsunade's body. Both the faceless man and the barbarian shield soldier stopped at this moment and stopped fighting completely. Looking at Orochimaru and Tsunade, Luhan gave the faceless man an order to protect Tsunade, and the faceless man himself has high intelligence. He can, judging from this situation, if Orochimaru is shot, there is a 99% probability that Tsunade will be killed. So he didn't move. Master Orochimaru. Master Tsunade. What are you doing? It turned out. With Tsunade's screams, there was a screeching noise around, and many people's eyes widened in disbelief. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, who would have believed it? Konoha Sanin, who once lived and died together, will betray Orochimaru. What are you doing? What are you going to do? Jiraiya's screams came from afar, and a strong man of his strength naturally listened to all directions, and he saw it. Orochimaru. Damn it, Orochimaru. The desperate fight between the two sides on the battlefield was temporarily terminated due to Orochimaru's sneak attack on Tsunade, and Konoha was at war. This is an opportunity for the embassies of various countries, but they are so shocked. Even the enemy cannot understand Orochimaru's betrayal. Call. Jiraiya flashed near Orochimaru, followed by another golden flash, and stopped closer to Orochimaru. Namikaze Minato, Inuzuka Gu, Kaharu Udatane, Homura Mitokado and others were also rushing frantically. They have all figured out what Orochimaru is going to do. Tsunade was originally foolproof. Hangwang's two puppets protected Tsunade, plus the more powerful Orochimaru. I'm afraid that it would be Tsunade's turn to die if everyone else died first. Unexpectedly. Tsunade is really important. She is Hangwang's wife. She was attacked, she was injured, and she was held hostage, which directly affected the battle between Hangwang and Uchiha Madara. Orochimaru, you let her go. Orochimaru, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Yelling, around Orochimaru and Tsunade, a group of Konoha's master ninjas rushed over, but no one dared to act rashly. Jiraiya's face was painful, he was very excited. Orochimaru, don't do this, I will never forgive you for doing this. Hey, Orochimaru sneered, Still holding the back end of the metal rod in his hand, he continued to inject chakra. The sealing effect continued to strengthen. Tsunade was able to turn back at first, but now she is almost unable to move. Don't say to resist, she couldn't even think of suicide. Orochimaru didn't explain anything, just sneered, glanced around, and then held Tsunade hostage, turned into a shadow, flickered around the crowd, and quickly approached another battlefield. The huge Geto-Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, was blasted out by Luhan. Uchiha Madara was still standing on the top of Geto-Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, and the pipe protruding from Geto-Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, attached to his back ridge. The Jinchuriki column, Geto-Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, is rolling. Uchiha Madara keeps his hands together, and he is not thrown out. Immortal Susanoo jumped up again, and his bow body quickly approached. Ah! Tsunade's heart-wrenching cry came from afar. As if he was hit by something, Luhan stopped abruptly and turned his head to look in the direction of the battlefield in the Hokage building. Ha! Ha 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 ha! Uchiha Madara's wild laughter rang out again. Geto-Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, slowly climbed up. Uchiha Madara looked at Luhan with a cheerful look, cold light. You can't think of it, right? You didn't think about it. Ha 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 ha, you can't think of it. Ha ha ha. Tsunade. Someone's got a shot at Tsunade. How can it be? Who has such power? Who is it? Immortal Susanoo shook violently and collapsed into bits of energy that dissipated with the wind. Luhan, who had released Susanoo's state, disappeared out of thin air. East Central Konoha Village, on a ruined street. Luhan appeared out of thin air, looking ahead, his face was gloomy and terrifying. Orochimaru, turned out to be Orochimaru. Luhan knew that there was a problem with Orochimaru, because since Luhan killed Sarutobi Hiruzen and saw Orochimaru again, the identity information on the top of Orochimaru's head was abnormal. It was not the orange name, nor the name of Yuhi, but the orange Yuhi flashed alternately. Always the same. Same goes for today. In this regard, Luhan is not unprepared, but what he is guarding against is that Orochimaru may attack him. He never thought that Orochimaru would be so mad and attack Tsunade. Orochimaru is so crazy. Completely blackened. Orochimaru is the type of person who tends to go to extremes easily. Orochimaru, who was holding Tsunade, stopped, flipped his wrist, and placed Kuwu, which reflected Fenghan, on Tsunade's neck, tilted his head at Luhan again, and said hoarsely, "Be careful." Fell, Orochimaru turned into a shadow while holding Tsunade hostage. Luhan follows him like a shadow. He's not like everyone else. No doubt, no anger, no need to say anything. Orochimaru has come this far. He's done it, he won't look back. The key now is how to save Tsunade. To be honest, Luhan was a little fortunate, because Uchiha Madara's last blow came from Orochimaru, and Tsunade was held hostage by Orochimaru, which was much safer than being held hostage by others. Orochimaru moved with Tsunade and stopped near Geto-Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path. Luhan appeared right after, keeping a proper distance from Orochimaru and Geto-Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path. Hangwang, give me the mystery of life and death. Uchiha Madara said loudly. Chapter 1054-Let Go. Uchiha Madara's ultimate goal has always been to obtain the mystery of life and death. He first tried to defeat Luhan as much as possible, and wanted to obtain the mystery of life and death through positive means, but he couldn't, so he had to use Orochimaru's whole card. In fact, Uchiha Madara doesn't trust Orochimaru. It didn't take long for him to let Black Zetsu reach an agreement with Orochimaru. Orochimaru's temperament is unpredictable, but things have come to this point, he has to use it. Orochimaru did not disappoint him. The death of Sarutobi Hiruzen and the extreme thirst for the mystery of life and death made Orochimaru a complete betrayal. The ruined battlefield, the supergiant Geto-Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, stands proudly, like a god and a demon. Uchiha Madara, standing above Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, with an old and pale face, is now lying in a coffin with his eyes closed and acting as a dead man without even makeup, a real walking dead. Orochimaru was holding this Tsunade not far from Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path. The black metal rod had already exerted its maximum effect. Tsunade could not move or speak at all, only his eyes could barely turn. On the battlefield beyond the Hokage building, the battle started again. However, some powerful ninjas who can be called strong men, but they all temporarily left the battle, all came to Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, and Orochimaru held Tsunade to threaten Hangwang, which would have a more extreme impact on the battle situation. They want to understand the situation here. Some ninjas, such as Jiraiya, Namikaze Minato, have even begun to think of ways to get Tsunade back. 10 years ago, due to Tsunade's accidental death, Hangwang's sudden fall caused an uproar in the ninja world, and directly led to a new wave of the Second Ninja War that was about to end. We'll lose that protracted war. Nobody wants this to happen again. Around Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, silhouettes appeared out of thin air. Chiyo, Rasa, Yagura, Namikaze Minato, Jiraiya, Inuzuka. The primary combat power of both sides was driven by a large number of shadow ninjas and super elite jonin. When they arrived at the scene, they were standing very far away from each other, and they were clearly separated. Luhan's face was expressionless, his eyes flashed incomprehensible colors, his eyes swept across Uchiha Madara's face, and then looked at Tsunade and Orochimaru. It is Uchiha Madara who wants the mystery of life and death. It is Orochimaru who is holding Tsunade hostage. Luhan could sense that Orochimaru was also taking precautions against Uchiha Madara, but he didn't know what agreement they had reached. Silence. The wind was whistling, and the dust was swept across the ground. Everyone looked at Luhan. Uchiha Madara, you can always surprise me. Luhan finally spoke, his voice flat. Isn't it scary? Uchiha Madara teased. Ha! Luhan grinned and took a deep breath. I know that my resurrection from the dead has caused you to covet the secrets of life and death in me, and I also admit that I do have what you need in me. The profound meaning of life and death. Let's call it the profound meaning of life and death. However, what suits me is not suitable for anyone but me. So what? Uchiha Madara clenched his fists subconsciously. He was afraid that what Luhan said was true. In that case, no matter how many people he killed, no matter how many things he did, no matter how much he planned, he would not be able to revolving heaven. Today's battle he has already cut off his own way of retreat, and the reason why he is still alive now is that there is only one breath left. So, I can't give you my profound meaning of life and death. Luhan's speech speed suddenly accelerated. However, I have another secret technique of life and death. This is a forbidden technique that anyone can practice, although it requires effort. Some price, but it can really give people eternal life. Give it to me. Give it to me, Uchiha Madara screamed. Of his wrist, Luhan took out a dark Yuhi-colored scroll from his space backpack. There is indeed an immortal forbidden technique in this scroll that can be called the mystery of life and death. This was written by Luhan long ago, and he intends to hand it over to Orochimaru in the future. He made an agreement with Orochimaru that Orochimaru will serve him for 3 years, and he will send this spell out. The technique that was supposed to be given out, but because of today's various changes, I finally had to take it out in advance. For whom? Luhan shook the scroll in his hand and asked. To Uchiha Madara. To Orochimaru. Not only Uchiha Madara and Orochimaru are very jealous of this, but even the other strong ninjas who rushed around showed strange emotions. This is the ultimate meaning of life and death that can make people immortal. It's an attraction for anyone. Hangwang, do you want to provoke us? Uchiha Madara grinned. We already agreed, just give it to me. Bring it. Tsunade's Orochimaru, the kidnapper, looked indifferent, and it seemed that he really had already agreed. Shadow, Luhan shouted in a low voice. Call. Meow. The fluffy shadow cat appeared out of thin air on Luhan's shoulder. Give it to him. Luhan gestured. Meow. The shadow cat bit the scroll and disappeared out of thin air. The next moment, the shadow cat flashed past Uchiha Madara, and at that moment, the scroll fell into Uchiha Madara's hands. All eyes turned to Uchiha Madara again. Uchiha Madara behaved very cautiously. He was afraid of death now, and he cherished his life. He carefully inspected the scroll and confirmed that it was really just an ordinary scroll before slowly unfolding the scroll. Silence again. Uchiha Madara watched it earnestly for a few minutes. The expression on his face kept changing, from surprise to excitement, sometimes excited, sometimes frowning, and finally muttered to himself, "No corpse reincarnated. Immortality technique that should have been created by Orochimaru in the original book." In fact, the negative effects of this technique are very large, but compared with being able to live forever, those disadvantages are nothing. Very good. Very good. Uchiha Madara's face glowed and her eyes lit up. This technique has disappointed him, that is, the drawbacks, which are different from what he thought before, but there is also something that makes him more satisfied, that is, after changing the body, his lifespan has not only been extended, but he has also become more young. This is simply rejuvenation. Let him go, Luhan said indifferently. His voice was neither high nor low, but everyone could hear it clearly. Chapter 1055-Cold Wind in Winter. Uchiha Madara rolled up the scroll, put it in his arms, and looked up at Luhan. "Hangwang, I didn't expect you to be so straightforward. It seems that Tsunade is really the most important bond in life." Uchiha Madara smiled playfully. "We will meet again, and then we will decide the outcome." Although Uchiha Madara did not directly say that the meaning of life and death is true, his attitude has already shown everything. That's true. Orochimaru of Tsunade, the captor, blinked and glanced up at Uchiha Madara. "Sorry," Orochimaru said quickly in Tsunade's ear, and then slapped Tsunade on the back shoulder, knocking Tsunade out of the sky, and his entire body also turned into an afterimage. Insight maps show that Orochimaru is leaving Konoha village at super speed. Luhan didn't chase him, but swayed his body and hugged Tsunade, who had been knocked away in an instant, 100 meters away, and then slapped the black metal stick with the dark Yuhi spell pattern without hesitation. The black metal rod was blown away, and Tsunade had an extra hole in his shoulder blade, blood spurting out. Meanwhile, the Uchiha Madara hand seal on Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path. The earth began to shake violently, as if it had been shaken. The terrifying air current wrapped Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, and Uchiha Madara above it. After 2 breaths, Geto Mazo, demonic statue of the outer path, and Uchiha Madara disappeared at the same time. As if a mountain was removed out of thin air, the ruined battlefield suddenly became extremely empty. Luhan didn't care where Uchiha Madara ran to and how fast he ran. He looked at Tsunade. Cough cough cough. Tsunade coughed violently as soon as the seal was lifted. Luhan carefully supported her. Cough, cough, cold, eye. Heal first. Tsunade reluctantly raised his arms, his hands clasped together, and the yin seal on his forehead burst into a powerful aura. Forbidden technique yin seal creative regeneration. Tsunade didn't move, and the wounds on her body recovered quickly. The wound healing was visible to the naked eye. In just a few breaths, Tsunade completely recovered. Her strength is very powerful. In the entire ninja world, she is also a top-notch existence. If Orochimaru hadn't attacked her, she wouldn't have been hurt so badly. The faces of Chiyo and others became very ugly, because Uchiha Madara was gone, Onoki had died, and Uchiha Madara fled again. The combined ninja force of sand, rock, mist, Taki and other forces had lost the possibility of defeating Konoha. And that invincible cold light could kill them all. No one knows where the limit of Hongguang's combat power is. And they can all feel that the cold light is like a volcano, a repressed active volcano, and the calm cold light is even more terrifying, and he may erupt at any time. Han, I'm dragging you down. Tsunade recovered from his injury and lowered his head. You didn't, it's all Orochimaru's fault. Luhan stroked Tsunade's hair. Tsunade was silent. She will no longer defend Orochimaru. Before Luhan killed Sarutobi Hiruzen, she was very worried that Orochimaru would conflict with Luhan, and worried that Orochimaru would die. Now she doesn't worry anymore. Her heart is cold. Orochimaru should be damned. This is what he asked for of all Sunagaker ninjas. Withdraw, get out of here. Iwagakure, withdraw. Kurigakure, go. The chanting sounded one after another, and each sound resounded through the entire Konoha under the influence of chakra. Chiyo, Rasa, Yagura, Lois, etc., all scattered and rushed out of the Konoha village like crazy. They never thought before that Luhan would hand over the mystery of life and death so easily, and let Orochimaru and Uchiha Madara so easily without fighting. Orochimaru and Uchiha Madara ran away, and it is they who will suffer. On the battlefield in the Hokage building, all ninjas from all countries and forces were ordered to flee. Tsunade, how are you? Master Tsunade. Both Jiraiya and Namikaze Minato appeared next to Tsunade and Luhan. Jiraiya was very worried about Tsunade's condition. It was not a physical injury, but a trauma in her heart. The feelings of Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Orochimaru were incomprehensible to outsiders. The real relatives are also relatives. Because of this, Jiraiya is even more worried about how Tsunade's heart will be torn apart. Take care of her. Luhan put his hand on Tsunade's shoulder, glanced at Jiraiya and Namikaze Minato, then looked around, looking at the figures around him who were running away frantically. Shadow. Luhan called out. Meow. Shadow Cat appeared on his shoulder. Luhan took out the Hiraishin Kunai, let the Shadow Cat hold it, and then disappeared with the Shadow Cat in a flash. In the northwest of Konoha village, a strong man named Gualadi, in Takian village, who is nearly 50 years old, is moving at high speed against the ground. He is a level 60 bronze boss. Gualadi's strength is also top-notch in the entire Takian village. This time, he came to Konoha village to carry out the mission. Because the plan was perfect, he thought there would be no big problems, but all kinds of variables shocked his jaw, and now, he has smelled the breath of death. Can only run, crazy run. Sudden. Woo! A purple shadow flashed over his head. It was the Shadow Cat who appeared above his head with Hiraishin in his mouth, and just a moment later, a terrifying knife light enveloped Gualadi. Launch the instant forbidden technique. Pucci _. The knife light tore Gualadi into two pieces, and the blood spurted wildly, but he still did not escape, because the moment he sensed the danger, he was already dead, and the instant forbidden technique required an investigation. Carrot's running process, although the time is definitely negligible, but he is still dead. The falling object flew up with the golden light, turned into a streamer, and got into the figure that appeared with the knife light. Luhan glanced at the corpse indifferently, his face like a cold wind in the cold winter. To the east of Konoha village, the cage-level powerhouse of Iwagakure village, named Munjong, had a heavy expression on his face. He hunched his waist and moved forward very fast, because his speed was so fast that he seemed to have turned into a wind. Meow. A purple figure with Hiraishin in his mouth flashed above her head. Kai. The knife light strikes, and the space seems to be torn apart. Meng Zong's eyes frightened to ultimate at this moment. Chapter 1056_Ninja Catastrophe. He couldn't escape. In the previous battle, Meng Zong had been injured and consumed a lot of chakra. He had been targeted by Namikaze Minato many times. If Master hadn't defended against forbidden technique, he would have died in the hands of Namikaze Minato. Doden Earth Style Art of Flower Rock. Meng Zong triggered the special curse mark on his body, and his body shrank suddenly. At this moment, the cuticle of rock texture covered his whole body, and the curse mark pattern in the form of a turtle shell appeared on his back. Because Meng Zong's body shape had changed, Luhan couldn't decapitate him with this knife. He used all his strength to use the knife. The speed of the knife was too fast, but he couldn't change his moves in an instant. Boom underscore. Lu Han, who appeared, slashed Mengjiang's back with a knife, and the terrifying impact was transmitted to the ground through Mengjiang's body. Mengjiang was like a meteorite that slammed into the ground, blasting the ground out. Very huge pit. Lu Han was a little surprised that he didn't kill Mengjiang with a single knife. The tortoise-shell defensive curse mark and rock horns behind the alliance weight successfully resisted Lu Han's attack. However, Mengjiang couldn't move anymore. He was lying in a huge pit. He just wasn't hacked to death directly, his body surface wasn't broken, but his internal injuries were extremely serious, his 5 internal organs were displaced and his life was dying. Cadent Fire Style, Majestic Destroyer Flame, Great Fire Annihilation. Lu Han blew a huge fireball into the pit. After 10 seconds. Elsewhere in Konoha village, 2 Sunagaku shadow ninjas walked together, hurried over the ruins of the building and rushed into the forest. The little purple guy flashed over their heads, and Lu Han appeared behind them. Across the board. It's a killing season. Lu Han is killing people, starting from the Shadow Ninja, killing the Super Elite Jonin after killing the Shadow Ninja, killing the Elite Jonin. He bypassed the top-level existences such as Chiyo and Yagura, because killing them is more troublesome and cannot be killed in a short time. The dogfight is also a waste of time. Instead of wasting time on them, it is better to kill some ninjas who are weaker than them but easy to kill. This will hit the major forces even harder. Killing a Chiyo will make more ninjas run away. This is not worth it. Moreover, the accumulated drop rewards for doing so are also more generous. This day will definitely be a day in the history books. Because on this day, a generation of legendary ninjas was known as the Cold Light of the God of Death, and slaughtered a large number of core powerhouses of Sunagaku, Kurigaku, Iwagaku, and Taki Ninja. There are famous and well-known names in the ninja world, and more than 100 people died in the hands of Cold Light. And those lesser-known powerhouses died more, among which the 3 major ninja villages suffered the most, because there were many powerhouses who came to Konoha to participate in the action, so they died a lot. To say that the biggest loss is naturally the village of Iwagaku. The death of Tsuchikage, the 3rd generation of Eyes, has directly changed the pattern of the ninja world. The evaluation of later generations, what Han Guang did today, made the ninja civilization of the ninja world go backward for 10 years, because a large number of powerful people from the 3 major forces died in battle, resulting in the loss of some unique forbidden secret techniques. Those master's unique secret techniques forbidden technique the ninja, has no chance to pass on his skills. It's like civilization has been divided. Futon, Wind Style, Sweden, Water Style, Doden, Earth Style, Ninjutsu has lost many developers and instructors in the inheritance. Although the fault is not irreparable, it will take a long time. This is the catastrophe of the ninja world. In a way, this is a more terrifying catastrophe than the ninja war. The 3rd ninja war that has lasted for several years. Although tens of thousands of ninjas have died, most of them are low-level ninjas. Shadow Ninja and Super Elite Jonin really don't kill as many as Lu Han in one day. This time, in cooperation with Uchiha, nearly 600 ninjas came to Konoha village to participate in the operation, but they finally escaped here alive, less than 100 people, and all of them were injured. The nearly 500 ninjas who died in Konoha, only less than 100 died in the previous melee, and the remaining 400 people died at the hands of Lu Han. If they are united, Lu Han is not necessarily their opponent. No matter how strong the immortal Susanoo is, he will not be able to withstand the overwhelming blow of S-rank A-rank ninjutsu. However, this assumption cannot be established. Because the consequences of their joint fight against Lu Han, not only against Lu Han alone, but against the siege of thousands of ninjas in Konoha village. So they all died, on the way to escape. The existence of Shadow Cat greatly improved Lu Han's chasing efficiency. No matter how scattered they ran, they couldn't be faster than Shadow Cat. The sun was scorching hot, the sun was just westward, and it was the hottest time of the day. The ruined Konoha is devastated. Thousands of ninjas in the Konoha village have dispersed. In addition to the necessary defensive forces, The rest of the Konoha ninjas have begun to clean up the ruins in an orderly manner and treat the wounded. Some Konoha ninjas even left Konoha and went to support tens of thousands of people who had previously left the village of Konoha because of the fighting. Tsunade, Jiraiya, Namikaze Minato, Kaharu Udatane, Homura Mitokado, Inazuka Soku, Hyuga Bonin and other ninjas all gathered in the small square near the east gate of Konoha village, surrounded by hundreds of ninja guards. Many ninjas looked at Tsunade with inexplicable complexities. They once hated Tsunade because Tsunade's husband killed Hokage 3, and they even had plans to kidnap Tsunade, but now, if Tsunade hadn't stepped forward and used himself to coerce his husband Han Guang to take action, Konoha might have been destroyed in today's battle. Actually Tsunade could have stayed out of it, but she didn't. Woo meow. The little fluffy purple thing popped up on Tsunade's head, wagging its tail, and its cry was muffled because of the Hiraishin Kunai. Everyone was shocked. Cold light is back. Sure enough, the cold light appeared in the open space 3 meters in front of Tsunade and the others, and the rich bloody smell spread out, and Luhan was covered in blood. Forbearance. Luhan hand seal, the water quickly circled around him, and then white smoke rose. Luhan even changed his clothes, and his whole body was extremely clean. Cold. Tsunade hesitated. Let's go. Luhan stepped forward to grab Tsunade's hand and was about to leave. Wait a minute, Lord Hengguang. Kaharu Udatane yelled hastily. Chapter 1057_appointed. Luhan turned to look at Kaharu Udatane and frowned. What? We discussed it just now, and also talked with Tsunade. Kaharu Udatane continued. Lord Hengguang, we feel that Tsunade is the next generation of Hokage in Konoha village. Yan and Minato have no opinion. Luhan's plan worked. At the beginning, he designed Tsunade to take the lead, and then he took action in order to establish a new, higher and stronger prestige for Tsunade. On the one hand, it was to pave the way for Tsunade to succeed Hokage in the future. But also to save some trouble. After all, Luhan killed Sarutobi Hiruzen, and Tsunade was going to be involved. The plan was very successful, even a little too successful. Have Tsunade now as Hokage. If it was as Luhan thought before, it's not impossible, but it's different now, because Uchiha Madara is not dead. In this case, let Tsunade serve as Hokage. She is in the bright place, which is very disadvantageous to Luhan. You agreed? Luhan asked Tsunade, looking at him. Tsunade shook his head. Tsunade said, I need to ask for your opinion. Kaharu Udatane said quickly, Lord Hengguang, you also know that in the current situation in Konoha village, there must be people who are strong enough and wise enough to take up the responsibility of Hokage. Jiraiya. He's too lazy. Minato. He's still young, so Tsunade is expected to be the Hokage, so you see. Kaharu Udatane's abacus is crackling. In fact, in terms of strength and ability, the most suitable person for Hokage is Han Guang, but after all, Han Guang killed Sarutobi Hiruzen. He will definitely be opposed by some people when he ascends the position, and it will be troublesome at that time, and Han Guang is not necessarily willing when this Hokage. Tsunade is different. She has strength, she has brains, she is the last wisdom among Sannin, and more importantly, she is Han Guang's wife. Once Tsunade becomes Hokage, it is equivalent to tying Hengguang to the boat of Konoha village. Although Hengguang is no longer a Konoha ninja, the outside world will definitely regard him as the patron saint of Konoha, and even Hengguang's son will return to Konoha. His family is in Konoha, and he and Konoha cannot be separated. If Tsunade is going to take the top position now, there will be no resistance in Konoha village, and it will save a lot of trouble. No way, Luhan asserted without thinking too much. Tsunade will not be the Hokage of Konoha village. Lord Kaharu, you don't need to say any more. Tsunade has dedicated the first half of her life to Konoha. She is tired. I mean, it's decided. This. Kaharu Udatane didn't expect Luhan to object so firmly. I know that Konoha is in vain, the ninja village needs to be rebuilt, and there is still war with the outside world, but I believe you can handle it well. Luhan stopped Tsunade to go, only to take 2 steps and then stop, turning back. Your 4th generation Hokage should be Namikaze Minato, he is very suitable. After saying that, Luhan walked out of the crowd with Tsunade and disappeared out of thin air. Konoha in the historical record. On March 23, the legendary ninja generation killed the god Hangwang. After the war, the 3rd generation Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen's disciple, Namikaze Minato, was appointed as the 4th generation Hokage of Konoha village. In fact, Luhan just suggested that the word, imperial, is very inappropriate, and Konoha had already decided that it was Namikaze Minato, but after discussion with Kaharu Udatane and others, they decided to make a big flag. Namikaze Minato's superiors are shaped as Hangwang's arrangement. This is nothing more than to connect Konoha and Hangwang closely. After this day and this battle, the invincible Hangwang can stun everyone just by name. 3 days later. The situation of the Battle of Konoha village has spread throughout the entire ninja world like the wind. The entire ninja world, whether it is the ninja world or the mortal world, is in an uproar. Uchiha Madara, who has been dormant for decades, appeared in public. Onoki was killed by the cold light and besieged Konoha. The forces of all parties suffered heavy losses, and the elite powerhouses who went there were almost completely lost. The information is very complicated, and almost every piece of information can cause uproar in the ninja world. The pattern of the ninja world has changed because of this battle. This 3rd Ninja World War will be more tragic, or will it end in haste, with all parties holding their tails and licking the wounds? Everything is unknown. However, there is one thing that can be completely confirmed, and that is Hangwang is invincible in this world. He is a killer. Kumogakure Village, Lone Peak Mansion. Hidden in the courtyard in the forest. Uchiha Makoto had just returned from grocery shopping and was about to cook with Hyuga Luo-ning. Uzumaki Kashina was holding the shadow cat and was supervising Ali's fist and foot practice. In fact, he was eavesdropping on the conversation between Luhan and Xiao-ai. Luhan and Tsunade came back a day ago. At this time, he and Xiao-ai were sitting at the stone table under the shade of a tree and had already talked for a while. If it's very troublesome, I can take someone away first. I don't want to make it difficult for you, and there is no need for us to be separated. Luhan said lightly, frowning slightly, as if he had something on his mind. No, teacher, what are you talking about? Don't worry, the wife and sister are here, there will be no problem with their safety, and no one will gossip, you can rest assured. Xiao-ai said with a careful smile, for this teacher, he is more and more in awe. Because Luhan's record is too pervert, since his fame more than 10 years ago, the 3rd generation Kazekage, the 3rd generation Mizukage, the 3rd generation Hokage, the 3rd generation Tsuchikage, the demigods and the demigods. These people who stood at the top of the era, all died at the hands of Luhan. So terrifying, not only did Xiao-ai's attitude towards Luhan change, but even the high-level people in Kumogakure village also changed their minds. Before they thought the cold light was trouble and would bring disaster to Kumogakure village. But now, they feel that Hangwang is the new god of ninja world, and wherever he is, it is the safest place. So now the top management of Kumogakure not only does not want to chase people away, but also hopes that Hangwang can stay and live there. Teacher, where are you going? Xiao-ai asked. Luhan just said he was going out to do errands, but he didn't say what to do. Go to the land of rain, Omegakure village. Luhan replied, raising the teacup and taking a sip. He's going to take the initiative. Uchiha Madara is not dead, he is uneasy. Chapter 1058_Obsession with Killing. Luhan didn't tell Xiao-ai exactly what he was going to do in Omegakure village, and there was no need to say. At present, apart from him, there is no unrelated person in this world who knows the relationship between Konan, Nagato, Yahiko and Uchiha Madara. After all, the 3 of them should be 18 years old now. According to the original records, they should have established Akatsuki at this time, but the current Akatsuki has not been blackened. The purpose of their establishment is to bring peace to the country of rain, that is to say, the current Konan, Nagato. The three of Yahiko are still passionate young men with ideals and aspirations. Rinnegan is on Nagato. Luhan estimated that once Uchiha Madara used the technique of immortality for a new body, Nagato would definitely find Nagato and take back the Rinnegan that belonged to him. This was the fundamental reason why Luhan went to the Land of Rain. Can definitely wait until Uchiha Madara. Kill Uchiha Madara. In this regard, Luhan has formed an obsession. On the north side of the main building in the backyard of Gufeng Mansion, in the practice ground. The floor reflected bright colors, and Tsunade sat crossed on a futon in the middle of the training ground, his breath rising and falling. Luhan quietly appeared behind Tsunade, staring at Tsunade's back, motionless. After a moment, Tsunade finally noticed something and opened his eyes. I'm going to the Land of Rain. Luhan hugged Tsunade from behind and whispered, I don't want to kill Uchiha Madara, my heart is uneasy. Tsunade turned his head to look at Luhan, his beautiful eyes shone with a moving luster, but there was a gloom, and said softly, it's all my fault. I don't blame you. Luhan pinched Tsunade's cheek, pulling it as if it was fun, and tugging Tsunade's face a little out of shape. You are the person I love the most, you know. Come on, I'm not a child. I'm a child, okay. You're not a child either. Then let's have another baby, shall we? Han, stop, don't be here. Luhan pressed Tsunade to the ground and gave her a long kiss. He didn't let go until Tsunade was out of breath, and said close at hand, take care of yourself, take care of everyone, I will do her best to protect you. Wait for me to come back. Are you leaving right now? Well, maybe a few more days. Then stay a few more days. I will. Luhan and Tsunade were tired and crooked in the practice hall for a while, until the sound of Uzumaki Kushina calling for dinner was heard outside, and they got up. Not long after, in the lobby of the main building, a large round table was full of people. Luhan, Tsunade, Ali, Hyuga Luaning, Uchiha Makoto, Uzumaki Kushina, a total of 6 people ate together. Obviously yin and yang were declining. They looked like a family, but in fact, in Luhan's heart, they were a family. Let's eat. Luhan picked up his chopsticks and said. Then everyone moved their chopsticks. Tsunade, like a mistress, first served Luhan, then Xiao Ali, and Hyuga Luoning also put meatballs into Luhan's bowl. In a few days, in 3 days, I will go to the Land of Rain. Luhan said, officially announcing this matter. We'll have the opportunity to enter the disruptor space again. Luhan has already counted all the drop rewards obtained in the Battle of Konoha. He killed Onoki, but he did not drop the Jinten particle-style blood succession elimination scroll, but it doesn't matter. As long as Luhan enters the subversive space and the blood follows the elimination scroll, he can also afford it. Luhan is about to complete the biggest improvement in his life in Kumogakure village, and then go to the Land of Rain. Governing a Megakure village is the first step of his action, and contacting Konan and others is the second step. His idea is to recruit Konan and others, and then, if Uchiha Madara doesn't show up, he will have his next move. In fact, everyone at the dinner table already knew about Luhan's going to the Land of Rain, because Uzumaki Kushina overheard Luhan's conversation with Xiao and told it to others. Han, Lord Hengguang, isn't it very dangerous to go to the Land of Rain this time? Uchiha Makoto said in a low voice, looking a little too afraid to speak, and peeking at Tsunade. It's not dangerous, it's just more troublesome. Luhan replied, smiling slightly at Uchiha Makoto. Uchiha Makoto, like a frightened bunny, hurriedly avoided Luhan's eyes and glanced at Tsunade carefully. She's afraid of Tsunade. Tsunade doesn't like her, which makes her cautious in everything she does. Tsunade looked as usual, picked up the public chopsticks again, put a piece of fried meat in the bowl of Ali, and said, Ali, eat more meat. Immediately after, she picked up a piece of fried meat and placed it in the bowl of Uchiha Makoto casually. Inside, he said casually, you also eat more. Oh, thank you, Tsunade-sama. Uchiha Makoto looked very surprised, and did not dare to speak loudly, but his eyes were a little yuhi. I want to. Uzumaki Kushina immediately shouted, pouting at Tsunade even though he was in his 20s. Eat, eat, and eat. Tsunade said angrily, and gave her a big drumstick. Hyuga Luo Ning rolled her eyes, stabbed Uchiha Makoto immediately, crawled into Uchiha Mikoto's ear and said something. Uchiha Makoto's face suddenly turned yuhi, her shoulders arched. Hyuga Luo Ning, and she made a voice like a mosquito. Don't talk nonsense. Luhan glanced at Hyuga Luo Ning and Uchiha Makoto, and raised his brows. With his ear, he could naturally hear what Hyuga Luo Ning said. It was so dirty. Humph. Tsunade grunted in dissatisfaction, and gave Luhan a complaining look. Father, mother, why are you winking? Xiao Ali asked with a look of confusion. Shut up. Eat well. As much as you talk. Luhan, Tsunade, and Hyuga Luo Ning spoke one after another, all with a lesson tone. Oh, Xiao Ali was a little aggrieved. Time flies, another 3 days, late at night. In the attic on the top floor of the main building, in the narrow and dim space, the moonlight shone through the window into a patch of silver white. Luhan sat cross-legged on the futon and waited quietly. He had already placed seals around him and warned no one to disturb him. 0 o'clock. Luhan's body suddenly became illusory and then solid again. Chapter 1059-13,000 ingots. In the silver-white space, the light ball is suspended in the center, silent. Wow! The center of the ball of light suddenly cracked, and Luhan walked out of the dark passage and turned to look at the ball of light, the messenger of subversion. Ingot exchange, Luhan said. _. With the strange sound, the light ball burst into a dazzling light. This was a situation that had never happened before. Luhan subconsciously took a step back and narrowed his eyes slightly. The light swayed in the entire space for a while, and then quickly condensed to form a huge cylinder. Luhan was in the center of the cylinder, and there was a huge cylindrical light curtain around it, which was divided into square areas. Each square, all represent an exchange. The reason for this change this time is because Luhan holds too many ingots. In the Battle of Konoha village, Luhan was killed. In addition to Onoki, hundreds of cage level, super elite, and elite Jonin died in Luhan's hands. The total number of dropped items exceeded 5,000, and they were only rare weapons. It exploded nearly 20. As early as the day before yesterday, Luhan had already sorted out the dropped items. The ones that should be used up and the ones that should be recycled were left to his son Ali. Although the value of those items was not low, they were different from those that should be recycled. Compared to the ingots that Luhan currently holds, they are nothing. Luhan now owns more than 13,000 ingots. Ding! Remind the subversive 3665 that the number of ingots you currently hold exceeds 10,000. Do you spend 10,000 yuan to open the special talent exchange list? The prompt sounded suddenly, and it turned out to be the voice of the subversive messenger. Special talent exchange list. Luhan frowned and immediately asked, what is that? It is a more advanced exchange item combination, which needs to be unlocked to view the exchange. This list contains 12 special talents. Once exchanged, the subversive will have new creativity, including the talent of creating ninjutsu, the talent of creating technology, and Almighty Creates talent. Quote. Oh, Luhan replied lightly, looking not very interested. In fact, it's not that he is not interested, but it is impossible for him to spend 10,000 yuan to open the list now. That is a great waste. He has so many ingots, so naturally he needs to exchange ability first. Approaching the light curtain wall, Luhan looked up, glanced slowly, and moved slowly, because the light curtain was a cylinder that circled around, so he had to walk in circles. Soon, he arrived at the exchange price of Impure World Reincarnation. A full 8,000 ingots are needed. This price is also against the sky. It is only S-level forbidden technique. The cheapest S-level forbidden technique can be exchanged for 100 yuan, but impure world reincarnation needs 8,000. Moreover, according to the level, it is also possible to exchange an impure world reincarnation scroll. It's only LV1 level. If you want to upgrade to the world's upper limit of LV6, you need a full 48,000 ingots, and if you want to upgrade to the subversive's upper limit of LV9, you need 72,000 ingots. Impure world reincarnation isn't the most expensive yet. Luhan continued to walk in circles, and what he saw required the ability to make his eyes hot. All-killing ash bones, priced at 8,000 ingots, redemption prerequisites, Master LV6 Shikatsumiku, Dead Bone Pulse Kekkei Genkei. Chibaku Tensai, Heavenly Body Bursting from the Earth priced at 8,000 ingots, exchange precondition, Master Rinnegan required. 80 Gods Vacuum Attack, priced at 10,000 ingots, redemption prerequisites, Master Kekkei Mora Physique required. Rinnegan, priced at 12,000 ingots, redemption preconditions, Mangekyo Sharingan, the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, must be turned on. The highest selling price is Rinnegan, which is as high as 12,000 taels. Luhan estimates that as long as he owns Rinnegan, his strength level will definitely enter the 90th level, even in the 4th Ninja War in the later period of the original work. It is also the top-level existence, and can fight Kagaya head-on. But one thing is very pitiful, that is, the exchange of Rinnegan requires preconditions, and it requires the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan of extreme pupil power. Luhan has the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, but his pupil strength has not reached the limit. Luhan found out that the higher the price of the exchange item, the higher the possibility of exchange preconditions, because many abilities are themselves part of another ability, such as 80 Gods Vacuum Attack, which itself is based on Kekkei. The Mora Physique is an ability that can only be cast based on the Kekkei Mora Physique, so Master 80 Gods Vacuum Attack is unreasonable without the Kekkei Mora Physique. It's like Tsukuyomi's Mangekyo Sharingan's ability. It is unreasonable to be able to cast Tsukuyomi without Mangekyo Sharingan. Rinnegan should not be the most valuable exchange. Because above Rinnegan, there is Samsara Sharingan. In addition, the Kekkei Mora exchange item did not appear, nor did the power of 6 paths. In fact, Luhan is not sure whether there is an exchange item for the power of 6 paths, because the power of 6 paths is a manifestation of the power of Yin-Yang Dun, and the formation basis of Yin-Yang Dun is very complicated. Mental energy, Yang Dun is body energy, but neither can be used. Because Yin-Yang Dun is 6 paths sage art, an ability formed after special use of Yin Dun Yang Dun. Luhan looked at these exchange items repeatedly. He found that the only thing he could exchange was All-Killing Ash Bones. All-Killing Ash Bones itself is a Kekkei Mora ability, but Kekkei Mora itself has 2 concepts, one is physique, the other is ability, such as Sage Body is a Kekkei Genkei, and Foot and Vapor Style is also a Kekkei Genkei, however the former is a constitution and the latter is an ability. And Kekkei Mora has both, the ability of Otsutsuki Kagaya in the original book, or the spells performed, or all Kekkei Mora, and her physique. She has the ability to use all attribute chakras for morphological change and nature transformation at will. This ability from her body, her special constitution is Kekkei Mora. 80 Gods Vacuum Attack requires a Kekkei Mora physique to cast. All-Killing Ash Bones don't need it. This ability is based on Shikatsumiku, Dead Bone Pulse Kekkei Genkei. However, Luhan was unwilling to exchange 8,000 ingots for such a thing. All-Killing Ash Bones are indeed powerful. It can be said that whoever touches them will die. Impure world reincarnation is useless, but that's all. The premise of killing people is that they can hit the opponent. Luhan continued to walk in circles and continued to watch. Chapter 1060-violence escalates. Luhan stopped and walked, constantly watching. There were too many exchangeable items, most of which made him less interested, and those that interested him, if he wanted to exchange, basically required preconditions. Luhan found out that even if he holds a lot of ingots, if he wants to become a god-like existence, he can't grow like a god. The rules are intentional. Because this can limit Luhan and prevent Luhan from only accumulating ingots, but not using them. If Lu Han had obtained the ingot after possessing the strength of Jonin, he would not have used it at all. Although he could not kill powerful enemies, there were more low-level ninjas in this world, and he only needed to kill those weak beings without danger. Keep killing and accumulating, so that he only needs a certain amount of time to accumulate enough ingots to directly exchange for the most advanced abilities. This is obviously not allowed. There is no need for the rules to explicitly prohibit Lu Han from doing this, but Lu Han is unable to do so. Ding! Remind Subversion 3665, you still have 10 minutes to stay. The Subversion messenger's voice resounded throughout the space. Well, Lu Han responded with a faint nasal voice, looked at the exchange in the light curtain area in front of him, thought about it, turned around and walked to the other side, and came to the other side of the Yuantong light curtain. Exchange the scrolls of Horaitian, Art. 5. Lu Han said. At present, Lu Han's Horaitian technique is LV4, which can be exchanged for 5 scrolls. After all of them are used, his Horaitian technique will reach LV9, which is the highest level that a subversive can achieve. In the Hokage world, any character in this world can cultivate any. The highest technique can only reach LV6 level. Lu Han's LV9 ultimate Horaitian technique will become the strongest time and space technique, there is no doubt about that. Ding! The exchange is complete, the Subversion messenger replied. Re-exchange, Raiden Thunder Style, Chakra Mode Scroll, 5. Lu Han's Raiden Thunder Style Chakra Mode is currently LV4, and if you exchange 5 more, it will reach full level after use. He dare not say that he will have the strongest attack ability in the world, but his physical defense ability, I am afraid it will reach the strongest. Lu Han's superimposed improvement is actually very violating. Just like cheating, he uses the advantages given to him by the rules to make his ability break through the limit. Although such an improvement is not as strong as having those godlike abilities, it can also let Lu Han's strength be upgraded with pure violence. Ding! The exchange is complete, the subversive messenger replied again. 6,000 ingots have been spent, and 7,000 ingots are left. Lu Han opened his data interface and looked at it. His Sage Mode is currently only LV2. He had only used one Sage Mode scroll before, and then he relied on cultivation to raise it 1 level. Sage Mode scrolls are too expensive. To exchange one, it takes 3,000 ingots. But this kind of ability that can comprehensively improve the ninja's speed, strength, reaction awareness, and self-healing ability, this price is not too much. Lu Han hesitated again and pondered. He no longer intends to exchange those top abilities, the preconditions are not satisfied, although some can be exchanged, but he does not like it, and the practicality is not so strong. But even if he can't master those top abilities, Lu Han can rely on improving other ordinary top abilities to become the strongest. You can stack it up. What can be superimposed? Lu Han wants to exchange Mokuden wood style and upgrade Mokuden wood style to the highest level, but there is a problem, that is, the top abilities of Mokuden wood style such as Wood Dragon Jutsu, the top of the Buddha, or all it is the ability that requires a separate exchange, and the exchange of these spells requires double preconditions. It requires a higher level Sage Body and a higher level Mokuden wood style ability. And Lu Han's ingot is not enough. He can only raise the Mokuden wood style technique to a certain level first, but it is not enough to raise it to the highest level, so it will be boring. No matter how high the Mokuden wood style technique level is, if you can't use several of the strongest abilities, at most, the attack range will become larger and then larger. Lu Han thought for a while. Ding! Remind the subversive 3665, you still have 5 minutes to stay. The subversive messenger said. The Sage Mode scroll. Lu Han looked up at the ball of light, sighed, and chose this one, exchange for 2. Ding! Exchange completed. Another 6,000 ingots were spent, and 1,000 ingots remained. Lu Han took out all the 12 scrolls from his space backpack. He used 5 scrolls of Horaitian technique, 5 scrolls of Raiden Thunder Style Chakra Mode, and 2 scrolls of Sage Mode. This way, his Hiraishin technique and Raiden, Thunder Style, Chakra mode have reached the highest LV9 level. And Sage mode, it has reached the LV4 level. That's enough. In the Hokage world, the highest Sage mode is LV6. Although Lu Han's LV4 Sage mode is not the strongest, it can even be said that the gap is not small, but when used with Raiden Thunder Style Chakra mode, it will definitely not be worse than LV6 Sage mode. He doesn't have a stronger enemy now, and that is Uchiha Madara. With his current strength, there will never be any problem in killing Uchiha Madara. As long as Uchiha Madara appears in front of him again, he will never escape. Dark Night, in the attic. Lu Han's body was illusory and solid again. He stood up and wanted to try his ability to change, but after thinking about it, let it go. In the middle of the night, it is not easy for him to make too much noise in Kumogakure village. Dodged and disappeared into the attic. In the corridor on the second floor of the wooden building, Lu Han appeared out of thin air. He first quietly walked a few steps to the room on the left and stood in front of the door, where Tsunade and Hyuga Luoning were both asleep, breathing evenly. Lu Han took a few more steps to the room on the right. Across the door, he could feel that Xiao Li was sleeping soundly. He flashed away again. In the corridor on the third floor, Lu Han reappeared. The room on the right, Uzumaki Kushina is sleeping. The room on the left, Uchiha Makoto tossed and turned, unable to sleep well. Uchiha Makoto didn't live here originally, but in the front yard. After that, she was allowed to live here for various reasons and also for safety reasons. It was late at night and she still hadn't slept. Lu Han stood at the door, thought about it seriously, and then disappeared. Quiet bedroom. Uchiha Makoto curled up on the soft couch, weeping silently. Lu Han appeared beside the couch out of thin air.